Denmark, being coached by none other than Bas Lammers himself, the legendary Dutch driver. Michael Pedersen, not so lucky in one of his races. He had to actually go out. He had a DNF in his first race, I think, if my memory serves. But this time around is sitting in 4th place. You can see still the top 3 in the last sector, very close to each other, with Israel, France and Brazil. Jules Caranta with the yellow crash helmet, as we have a warning flag for Diego Ardiles, the 113 further back in the classification. Let's try to see where he is. He is in P16 at the moment, Diego Ardiles, in a good battle with Marcos Kulenas, and might actually drop a couple of momentum as a result of that.
Well, if it stays like this, then the nation that's going to start from pole position in the final later is Brazil. It's going to be Gabriel Kunekan that will hit the front of the field in junior. He just needs to stay where he is in 3rd position. He doesn't even need to challenge the 2 guys up front. Just stay comfortable where he is, and he will have a great chance of that. Gilles Caranta could really do with getting past Israel, though, because if he gets through, then it'll be France that starts from pole position. So it is a big opportunity for Caranta. He knows it. Pinto is only looking at the top 4. 4th position on the grid for the final if he stays where he is, but he really needs the win. So this is quite an important one for him. Over the line, still some good battles outside the top 10. We've got Madej, Koenig and Liesen. That is India, Slovakia and Poland all having a terrific duel with each other. But out in front, it is Israel that leads the way. France in 2nd, Brazil in 3rd, then Denmark, followed closely by Peru, Slovenia and Estonia, the Czech Republic, Sweden, and of course in 10th place, Australia. But this is a very tough run for Israel. They're trying to keep France at bay as Jan Pinto holds on in front of Gilles Caranta. For Brazil, further back, Gabriel Kunekan is looking quite threatening in behind Gilles Caranta. There could be a chance of an overtake on the next lap, but Caranta needs to pass Pinto before Kunekan passes him.
Yeah, it's going to be tight indeed, as we are in lap number 8 of 11. You can see Caranta from France putting the pressure on your leader with the black crash helmet. No fault at all. He's keeping a steady racing line at the moment, trying to shut all the doors. That's what he needs to do, especially on the way to the last 2 hairpins. It's not quite obvious on camera, but this track of Pollecar is quite bumpy and hilly as well, especially in the last sector. You have different elevation changes, sometimes up to a meter between 2 levels. This part particularly, when they go down like some sort of a roller coaster on the way to turn number 12, and then they have to kick the gas wide open on this last corner and jump on the fast start-finish straight. And this time around, you can see that Brazil and Gabriel Kunekan had a much better exit from the last corner than France, Jules Caranta. Caranta dropping a couple of meters and losing a bit of a contact to the leader, at least for the time being. But he needs as well to be quite conscious and quite aware of the pressure from behind for Gabriel Kunekan, who, as you said, if things stays like this, he doesn't need to put any more pressure, doesn't need to go into some unwise move. He can still stay in 3rd place, but as long as France's Gilles Caranta doesn't go for the lead, things could be well settled for Brazil.
Sadly, the Joker has picked up a warning flag. That is Ghazi Motlakar of Mozambique. And out of the final turn, Israel still leading with 2 laps to go at the end of this one. This is it as far as France is concerned. Time to go grab pole position. You've got to get past Israel if you want to get the pole position for the final. This is not going to be easy for Gilles Caranta, but he will do everything he possibly can. The next generation of world motorsport megastars, all competing for the first ever FIA Motorsport Games gold medal in karting sprint junior. This is going to be a very interesting final later, but the man sat in 3rd position at the moment, Gabriel Kunekan for Brazil. Oh, Caranta's going to go for it on the inside of Pinto. They run side by side. There's not a lot of room to make that happen. Now Pinto's going ultra defensive, trying to keep Caranta at bay. Brazil feels like they can get a chance in there as well. That was brave from France. They picked a moment that was going to be very risky. They didn't quite get the overtaking move they wanted, and now they're into the clutches of Brazil. Here comes the opportunity up the inside, and Brazil is through. That completely confirms it as far as pole position is concerned. Brazil have leapfrogged past France, and so now Brazil is absolutely guaranteed, if it stays like this, to be pole position for the final.
Yeah, what a move from Brazil. We haven't seen that happen quite often throughout the course of the previous races, because that's a ballsy move, so to speak, in turn number 1. This is very narrow, and you need a good momentum and to align yourself, to position yourself quite clearly. That's what he did. Watch out on the turn number 12, 11 as well, left and right, but there's
going back for it.
He goes! Gilles Caranta takes 2nd place!
He snatches it back on the final lap. Terrific from France, takes it for Brazil with a few corners to go. It's Israel that gets the victory, France that gets 2nd. second from Brazil, Denmark and Peru. What a fantastic final couple of laps. The juniors really push it on here at Circuit Paul Ricard. We have 3 different winners from the 3 qualifying heats. First it was France, then it was Brazil, and now in heat 3 it's Israel that is triumphant, but it's going to be Brazil that starts the final from pole position. What a race!
Yeah, what a move it was indeed from Jules Caranta from France. We didn't see that coming, but it was beautifully made indeed from Jules Caranta. We thought at some point that it was going to have to make do with 3rd place, but Gabriel Cunningham had opened the door just a little bit too wide open, and Jules Caranta took advantage of that and dived through in turn number 12. But interesting turn of event. We've seen some maneuvers that we had not seen before in an attempt in turn number 10 that didn't prove fruitful for Jules Caranta. The turn number 10 before the run down to the last sector, and in turn number 1 it was beautifully made from Gabriel Cunningham from Brazil, and Caranta was able to respond. But what a beautiful end of a race that was, as Israel takes his first win at the end of those last 3 races. Jan Pinto wins in front of Jules Caranta from France and Gabriel Cunningham from Brazil.
So there is your provisional result. You can obviously see how good a performance it was from the drivers in the juniors. Israel from France and Brazil, Denmark, Peru and Estonia from Slovenia, Sweden, the Czech Republic and Australia, ahead of Slovakia, Poland, Turkey, India and Costa Rica in the top 15 positions. Then in 16th it is Lithuania in front of Portugal and Germany, Finland in front of Switzerland, and then Mozambique coming home in front of South Africa and Ukraine, Mexico, Malta, Georgia and Uzbekistan. Sadly, we had a few retirements on the opening tour, 3 drivers going. Belgium, Spain and Indonesia all falling by the wayside, which dramatically changes things as far as the qualifying heats are concerned. As it stands at the moment, provisionally, it is going to be Brazil that will be on pole position alongside France for the final. Then it will be Peru alongside Israel, and then we'll have Estonia alongside the Czech Republic, and finally Slovenia will be next up. What a fabulous race that was. An excellent display from all of the contenders. They really have given us good quality and good value right from the outset here. And a little bit of a moment here into the first corner. You can see a couple of drivers getting slightly sideways. But where things really started to go wrong was in the next apex. And this is where we're going to see a few drivers going sideways. There we go. Spain, Belgium and Indonesia all wiped out in one fell swoop there through the next hairpin. Very unfortunate. But certainly for Garcia and Ramak, as those are 2 drivers that were favourites to come into this one and challenge for medals. And now Spain and Belgium have had to walk away from the scene with nothing.
Yeah, once again, another disastrous turn of event for Thibaut Ramakers after his spin of yesterday's second race. But we've seen a lot of very interesting attempts throughout the course of this race, especially in those 2 turns, 11 and 12. But the battle has been raging between Israel, France and Brazil. Jan Pinto had the upper hand for the entirety of this race, his first ever win on this track. But you can see the move, the first attempt from Jules Caranta in turn number 10 that we haven't seen a lot throughout the course of the weekend. It was a good attempt, and then you can see Jan Pinto shutting the door on the inside of turn number 11 as Brazil was there for the taking. There wasn't enough space for him to dive, and Jules Caranta, this was attempt number 1. He was going to go, at least he thought he could go for the lead, but it was before Brazil, and Gabriel Cunningham took the chance into turn number 1, aligning himself on the inside. The door was open, he went for the move, it was clean, nothing to worry, nothing to say about that, clipping the curb on an aggressive mode. And at that point we thought that maybe it was a bit too late for Jules Caranta from France to be able to fight back and snatch that position back to him. But then this happened, clipping the curb. There was pretty much a meter, not so much more, between himself and the curb. It was enough for him to dive through, take the position back, and with it, second position overall. Still, Brazil will be starting from pole position as it stands for the final at 12:30. But a beautiful piece of racing in those later stages, and that's another strong signal of a beautiful final that we're going to have on our hands.
We really are. It's going to be an amazing final. There are the 3 karts being recovered after a very difficult end to their qualifying heats procedure. They will still be in the final, of course, but now they're going to have to make very rapid progress through the field, and overtaking around this circuit has already proven to be very challenging indeed. So we know, for the moment at least, provisionally, it is going to be Brazil in pole position. Second will be France, third will be Peru, and fourth will be Israel. So fascinating stuff. But 3 different nations taking the wins so far: France, Brazil and Israel. means for a very competitive final indeed. Coming up next, of course, we have the karting sprint senior category, which is going to be just as competitive as it has been in the juniors. With 2 different winners from 2 heats, there's more drama to come. So on the circuit, Paul Ricard here, the karting circuit just beside the main Grand Prix venue. We have already had some great battles. Yesterday, obviously, we crowned the first ever karting gold medals on a circuit, because obviously last time, 3 years ago, it was the karting slalom that came out onto the force for the FIA Motorsport Games, and a very successful competition it has been too. I believe their gold medal final is later today, which of course you'll be able to catch up with on motorsport.tv and all of the various channels worldwide, depending on where you're tuning in from. But you'll also get the opportunity to see gold medals being declared here on the kart circuit today. After the karting endurance, we got a gold medal from Belgium, a silver medal from Spain, and a bronze medal from the Czech Republic over the course of yesterday as well. But this is a good opportunity. It looks as though the contenders that are going for the medals in this particular competition are a handful of nations that have yet to take a gold medal in the games. You've got to remember that the last time they came here in the FIA Motorsport Games 3 years ago, there were gold medals for Japan, for Ukraine, for Russia, for Australia, for the Netherlands, and for Italy. Well, France got their first gold medal yesterday in the GT category, as well as also getting a gold medal from Belgium in karting endurance. There was also a gold medal for France in the rallying yesterday as well. And also from the esports, the United Kingdom got their first gold medal last night, courtesy of James Baldwin. So you've got a gold medal, Guillaume. Now so have I. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah, everybody's happy so far. And we got a couple of the medals in bronze medal, I think, in junior cross car as well for Belgium. But still a long day to come, of course, in all series, and plenty of medals still to be awarded. So let's see what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure is that some of the nations have been improving since the first edition in 2019. And of course, it's very, very nice to see. Also, something very nice to see is on location. We had a lot of people on Friday, and especially yesterday during the weekend, a lot of people turning up to the track to follow all competitions. If you're not lucky enough to be around, of course, stick with us on FIAMotorsportGames.com, because we got you covered with a beautiful and very complete stream operation for all the series, as we have in our back from our position on the track. We can hear the engine sound of the single-seater F4 with Andrea Antonelli, a former well-known figure of the karting world, now on his way to make even more wonders into the single-seater world after sealing the deal in Germany and Italy in F4, and is certainly on his way to claim the gold medal later today. We'll see about that, but hopefully we'll get to see Kimi Antonelli on the karting track once he's done on the F1 track. Let's see about that. But he was very keen on following what was happening here on the karting competition, as he's still very keen on doing some time practice at the wheel of a kart.
And you get quite a few drivers actually that come from other realms of motorsport to come and see us in the karting paddock. Just in the last 48 hours, the amount of visitors we've had to the paddock, not just F4 drivers such as Kimi Antonelli, Izzy Ahmed and Charlie Wirtz, but also our former FIA karting president, Felipe Massa, has been in the paddock this weekend to check up on his friends and his colleagues. It's been wonderful to see them all. So here's the grid for Sprint Senior Qualifying Heat number 3. Belgium from Spain, Sweden from Denmark, Hungary from Israel, Chile from Sri Lanka, Germany from Hong Kong, China, Austria from Estonia, then it is Poland from Slovakia, Venezuela from Brazil, India from Barbados, then it is Ukraine in front of Indonesia, Lithuania in front of Malta, Portugal, Nigeria, Costa Rica, Mozambique, Australia, Panama and Chinese Taipei. It's going to be a fabulous second race of the day, a fabulous third qualifying heat for senior, but the big news of course is that we thought it was 2 out of 2 for Joel Bergström, but after his manoeuvre on Ellie Goldstein at the end of the race yesterday, where he grabbed the lead, he was eventually later penalised and dropped to 6th position. That means the win was therefore inherited by Ellie Goldstein, who now leads the interim rankings on 2 points. Spain is second with 5, Sweden is third with 6, and Germany is fourth with 12. There is a very interesting final coming up, depending on what happens in this final qualifying heat to play it out.
30 drivers, 30 nations, and 16 laps to go through to seal the deal and decide who's going to be on top, start on top of the grid for the final of the senior category that will be taking place later today at 12:55 and 1 o'clock, actually 5 minutes past 1 local time here on the karting track of Paul Ricard. But Eli Goldstein in the upper position. He has the upper hand as it stands in terms of points, with Bergström dropping all the way to third with 4 points to collect if he wants to be on top of the grid. But something to keep in mind is that third place will be on the inside line of the track, just behind the pole sitter, which is in karting certainly the second best place you can find yourself in on the grid. So Bergström is in an interesting position, but Goldstein is just in front of him.
For the third and last time this weekend, we're going to get a qualifying heat underway in Sprint Senior. And once again, it's Belgium and Spain on the front row, from Sweden and Denmark, Hungary, Israel, Chile, Sri Lanka, Germany and Hong Kong, China. We're under starters order straight away. Good start from Belgium into the first corner. Sweden follows them through into the first corner. Not a bad start for a couple of the drivers in the middle of the thing. We got a spinner in the middle of the pack. That's the 219 that's gone around. That's Brazil. And unfortunately, he has been tagged in there by the 211 of Costa Rica. So Gabriel Kawa coming off the kart as well. Joao Maranhão having an issue, and it looks as though there's another one further round. It could well be the same issue. Yeah, there is a third car. It's Francisca Queiroz, the Portuguese driver. Unfortunately, she is out of the race on the opening lap as well. So everybody trying to mix it in the first couple of laps, but it is Belgium in front of Sweden, as it has been already so far over the majority of the weekend. And these two are going to continue their rivalry.
That's going to be a long one for Eli Goldstein. He's going to have to go defensive because Joel Bergström from Sweden has been every time very, very aggressive and threatening. Look at them two actually for the back in the classification, going side by side on the way to turn number 1. But the 209 from Belgium is leading for 0.2 of a second. Then we have Sweden, Spain, as well as Gustavo Suarez from Costa Rica down in 4th place.
We've got Carmen Krav off at the first corner, I do believe. So, no, sorry, it's Dmitry Muravchik. Dmitry Muravchik, Ukraine, is out at turn 1. They've been spat out there at the first corner. There is Dmitry Muravchik. Unfortunately, the driver from the Ukraine is out of this one. He's trying to get going again. But as we watch the drivers come through in the top 4, it is Belgium, Sweden, Spain and Chile. Gustavo Suarez making a great start and putting himself there into the top 4. Israel going well as well for Ariel Elkin, making a big comeback after his problems yesterday. Yellow flag still at turn 1, so no overtaking moves into the first corner. Sri Lanka doing a good job in P6 at the moment for Ivan David. Germany are there in the top 7 as well. Is up on the inside, a few drivers still going for overtaking moves. 8th place is Yu Kapo for Hong Kong, China, doing a fair job there. Then it's Austria for Oscar Wirtz and Poland for Adrian Labuda.
You can feel that this is the last heat before the final. The drivers are going for the moves. They're trying to go in places where had never been before. We've seen that in the previous junior race in turn number 10, for instance. Those two particular corners will be the spots to keep an eye on, especially as this is where the previous races were turned upside down between Belgium and Sweden. But this time around, we have indeed Chile in the mix as well. In 3rd place, Gustavo Suarez is going to try to make his bid on Spain. And Nacho Tunan, watch out between these two. Oh, and a bit of an edge on the inside, clipping the curb a little bit. And it dropped a bit of momentum, I'm afraid. Chile, Gustavo Suarez on Nacho Tunan, leaving the two leaders on their own. As we have Elkin from Israel doing a good job indeed. Yevon David picked up a penalty yesterday for causing an incident. He was only 10 in the end, as he's representing Sri Lanka and is doing a good job. Sorry, coming across the classification as we speak. 2 places gain up to 6 in front of Germany, as well as Capo Yu just behind, as well as Oscar Vos from Austria in 9th place, as well as Kyle Kumaran for India running up the top 10 just behind Adrian Labuda. So this is as it stands with 4 laps completed, and Belgium with Eli Goldstein has been able to put a bit of a cushion between himself and Sweden. 0.4 of a second, pretty much nothing, as we still have a long way to go before a checkered flag. But that could be enough for Eli Goldstein if he keeps the steady line, if he keeps his head down, while Ariel Elkin is responding with the fastest lap, 54.3 at the moment. He has just 0.4 of a second disadvantage on Chile and Gustavo Suarez for P4.
So Elkin gets the fastest lap of the race then, and he's going to try and close up on the top 4 and try and challenge for a higher position. He's already done that. He's up in 5th position, and he's now right on the back of Chile. So Chile versus Israel to the first corner then. Ariel Elkin's going to be pushing very hard up the top of the hill, and he might get his chance into turn one. He's going to have a go at it. So into fourth position goes Israel. Makes the bid there on Chile. Nice overtaking move. So Israel up to P4. Elkin still hasn't given up on his chances of the gold medal. He still feels that if he can get into a decent starting position for the final and then make progress in the first couple of laps, he can last the 32 laps better than anybody else in the final later.
Yeah, he makes his way up to 7 in the classification as we speak. So an interesting position for Israel and Ariel Elkin, trying to emulate on his fellow countryman, of course, in the junior class, having taken his first win of the weekend.
And a nice move there up the inside. That's Schleimer getting the opportunity there on Jovan David. So Germany passes Sri Lanka, but it's not done yet between these two. And obviously Schleimer wanting to try and hold on to the second row of the starting grid for the final. So that maneuver has got him on 18. But Jovan David is on 24, so he wants to move up as well. And that's Valentin Flamini picking up a warning flag. The Panamanian having a bit of a moment there at the back of the grid, unfortunately. So we've lost out 4 nations already gone from this race. Ukraine, Brazil, Portugal and Costa Rica all in trouble on the opening couple of laps. Everybody else has managed to keep going as Valdemar Agerholm manages to give Denmark the fastest lap of the race in this one. Up the inside, that's a big launch from the Dane, and he gets through. Excellent overtaking move there on the pole. So Denmark passes Poland, and that is a terrific bit of racecraft from Valdemar Agerholm.
Yeah, interesting. Another move in turn number 10, clipping the curb on the inside, and we get to see that more and more ever since the start of the races this morning, which is a good sign of more opportunities for the final, certainly, as it got reduced to just 2 spots pretty much for the first couple of races. But now you can see, you can feel the drivers, you know, are right there to make more attempts. They go for the move, they're being more aggressive, and which is good to see. As in the meantime, up to 0.8 of a second now between Belgium and Sweden for the lead. So Eli Goldstein is being able to find a bit of extra pace this morning. Don't know what he had for breakfast, but it seems to be paying off for the Belgian on his way to seal the deal and take pole position for the final. As we are here with the 2:21, this is Nacho Tunon being harassed by Israel, Ariel Elkin. Spain against Israel, battle for third, and he's dropping a bit of momentum on Joel Bergström in second. Bergström, of course, more than happy to see, or to at least be aware of them two battling just behind him, as he keeps his head down to make himself into second on the grid of the final. But where can Elkin and Israel find a way to pass? Maybe in turn number 10. Here's Goldstein, Sweden with Bergström, Spain, Israel, Nacho Tunon and Elkin. Maybe right on the inside. Oh, there was no space to go through.
You've got to remember that all of the current Formula One drivers in 2022 have come from this sport. Up the inside, Elkin gets the move there on Spain. So Israel through into third place on Spain. That's a lovely overtake. He even tidied it up on the exit when it looked like he'd overshot. So very nicely handled there by Elkin. And Israel move up into third position. As I was about to say when he made the move, all 20 of the current Grand Prix racing grid have come from this very sport. So it's fitting that there is a FIA Motorsport Games competition to fight for the gold medal in sprint karting. But Elkin wants to give Israel their first medal, and he is pushing hard to try and make it happen.
Representing Israel on the international karting scene with the TB kart colors on his racing suit. The team has been competing this season in Italy, being crowned IMA Series Italy winner this time around. Valdemar Agerholm from Denmark, the fastest lap in this race. Still very much in the mix, although he dropped a couple of positions in 10th, trying to get close to Capo U227, representing this time around Hong Kong, China for the FIA Motorsport Games. The battle for 9th place will be interesting to follow. The 2:14, Sweden, Joel Bergström, Ariel Elkin doing his bit, is progressing to the ranks. He's 6th at the moment when it comes to the grid for the final. Can he go maybe 1 position further up? This will be difficult because he has 2 points of a delay on Suarez in P5, but still is gonna go for the move as we're about to conclude lap number 11 out of 16. Watch out for Ariel Elkin. Oh, opening the door to number 11, and yes, he does the same as the lap before. Beautifully made once again for Israel. Up a position into second. Joel Bergström is looking over his shoulder. Watch out, because Spain and Nacho Tunon are just further back behind, trying to get close as well to make a similar bid maybe. But Ariel Elkin on a much better form than yesterday, and now Israel makes it up into second position with 1.6 seconds to climb on Eli Goldstein in Belgium. I'm afraid maybe time will be running out, but still that's a strong result that Ariel Elkin had been needing.
Such a crucial overtaking move for Israel to get up at a second position there past Sweden. That was an amazing move from Ariel Elkin, and he's got 1.6 seconds deficit to try and close up on a driver he's raced against many times before in various different competitions around Europe. But Israel into second position, the highest they've run in senior so far. Obviously, they've taken a heat win. Oh, that's a problem further back. That is game over,
Poland.
sadly, for Poland. So Adrian Labuda is out of this race. That's very unfortunate. Meanwhile, further back, we've got a little bit of a battle brewing here as Bergström has lost ground to Spain. So Sweden are down to fourth position now as Dunion has got through into third place. We didn't see where the overtaking move was. There's yellow flags for the Polish driver on the sidelines, but it's a big move for Spain as they have got through past Sweden to get third position. It looks as though Joel Bergström is all at sea. This is not good news.
Yeah, good news indeed. Watch out for the move coming. Oh, that was close!
What's going on? They both backed off big time, and as a result, Sweden having to defend the move as Schleimer and Wirtz are trying to cut through. Now Bergström's gone wide and off on the runoff area. He's lost 4 places. Big drama for Sweden. What on earth happened there? They suddenly braked down for the hairpin. It looked as if there was an issue they were trying to get out of the way of, and all of a sudden it's dropped Bergström all the way down from B4 to B8.
Yeah, disastrous turn of event for Sweden, and at some point they were 4 wide on the entry of turn number 11, where there's only space for at least two maximum. But he's gonna have to try to make up for the ground that he lost. But that was quite an impressive sequence, but a disastrous indeed turn of event for Joel Bergström, and Sweden P8 at the moment on the inside. And yes, he makes his bit and tried to recover already. Beautifully made on the 224. This is Valdemar Ageron from Denmark, who still is behind with Capo Yu from Hong Kong, China, just behind, trying to make his bid as well. On the inside, oh, that was a close call, but not quite successful for Valdemar Hagerholm, who's just stirring in disbelief. He's not happy about what just happened. The door was shut, but that was quite aggressive driving, going defensive for Joel Bergström, who is in trouble. He needs to keep that position alive, otherwise he's going to be certainly tumbling down the order on the grid.
And all of a sudden, there's quite a few drivers that have gained a benefit as a result of that shuffling of the deck. Sri Lanka on the charge up into 7th position now as side by side. This is going to be close as up the inside comes Sweden to try and make another bid to defend from Denmark. Out in front, though, it is still Belgium from Israel, and then Spain in front of Germany. Austria making a terrific comeback in front of Sri Lanka, and Chile is up the inside. Sweden defends again from Denmark.
Let's see what happened as well with Germany, with Maximilian Schlemmer in 4th place, because he only has 2 points left to score on Joel Bergström in Sweden to snatch 3rd position on the grid. So if he actually can make his move on Nacho Tunan for 3rd, and in the meantime, if Joel Bergström loses another place in the process, he might actually lose the 3rd place on the grid for the final. Let's see about that. These are some of the calculations, as we'll make the counts once the race is done and the classification is being made.
But Belgium are going to make it 2 out of 3 here. It's Ellie Goldstein who takes the checkered flag. Belgium triumphs in the 3rd heat. Israel is 2nd. 3rd is Spain. What a dramatic end to the race that was, with such a shuffle of the deck. And Sweden does drop behind Denmark on the last lap to 9th place. So that is going to be crucial by 1 point. Bergström and Sweden will remain 3rd for the final, but with 2 wins out of 3, Belgium takes pole position for the gold medal race. Bring it on!
Just 1 point. That was a close call, isn't it, for Maximilian Schlemmer in Germany. He made it to 4th place after having started from 9 on the grid. He just missed on 3 little tenths of a second on Spain in Nacho Tunan. If he had done the overtaking maybe with 1 more lap to do so, the story would have been different, and certainly Joel Bergström in Sweden would get to start from 4th and not 3rd on the grid. But in the end, 1 point was enough for Joel Bergström after all the trouble he went through into this race. The drivers making their way back into the pit lane. That's another win, and this time on track for Ellie Goldstein and Belgium. The first that he had was due to a penalty picked up by Sweden and Joel Bergström. This time around, this is well deserved for Ellie Goldstein, that wins in front of Ariel Elkin in Israel. Nacho Tunan from Spain taking 3rd place.
And of course now, Ellie Goldstein of Belgium is in prime position to give Belgium their 2nd ever gold medal in the FIA Motorsport Games history, the first of which, of course, was picked up yesterday by the karting endurance squad. Israel in 2nd, Spain in 3rd, from Germany, Austria, Sri Lanka, Chile and Denmark. And then the top 10 rounded out by Sweden and Hong Kong, China. Then India in front of Estonia, Hungary in 13th in front of Lithuania and Slovakia. Then Australia from Venezuela. Indonesia, Malta and Kuwait. Then Chinese Taipei in front of Barbados. Then it is Mozambique ahead of Nigeria, Panama, and then it is the retirements. Poland and Ukraine in the early stages, and on the very first lap we also lost Brazil, Portugal and Costa Rica. A very tough race battle there in the third of our senior sprint qualifying heats. Let's look through the highlights. Right from the start we knew it was going to be a tough one in senior. They gave as good as they got. A good start initially from Belgium and Sweden. We thought it was just going to be business as usual, but it didn't work out that way for long. A little bit of a slide there in the middle, and unfortunately that was the spin triggered by the 219, that is Joao Maranhão. And Maranhão unfortunately spinning, clipped in there by the 211, that is Gabriel Kawa of Costa Rica. He tried his best to get out of it. Francisco Queiroz was out a little further up as well. She got spat out of the mix there for Portugal. It was a fairly simple race after that in the first couple of laps. Sadly, Ukraine dropping out of the race, and it wouldn't be too long after that that we lost Poland as well for Adrian Labuda. But the man on the move in that one, and certainly the driver of the race for me, Israel, Ariel Elkin, absolutely on the warpath.
Yeah, he pulled out some brilliant move, especially on turn number 1, making his way up in front of the 2016 of Gustavo Suarez. It was beautifully made indeed, as Ariel Elkin from Israel was able to pick up his best result in second, and certainly a big client for the final to come, that he will be starting from 6 on the grid. The pressure was on, but Elkin from Israel just kept his head down, and lap after lap was thinking about his move, and pulled them brilliantly, like in turn number 11 on Nacho Tunam from Spain, and he was able to keep the line straight and shut the door on turn number 12, where actually losing taking too much speed outside of the corner could get you the position taken back, but Ariel Elkin was having none of it and stayed ahead with a very strong battle in the end. But one of the biggest losers, of course, being Waldemar Algeholm, will drop all the way. The 205 from Poland, unfortunately, didn't see the checkered flag through, and there was a hectic battle as well between Denmark and Sweden, as he was trying actually to recover the places he had lost in the process. Joel Bergström quite unfortunate, and at some point he was getting out of hand and out of control pretty much in turn number 11.
You've got to feel for Chile as well. Gustavo Suarez started in the opening phase in the top 4 and ended up slipping away in all of the gaggle down to 7th position. He's still got a good chance for the final, but for Belgium it looks so sweet, and the grandson of the 5-time world champion Francois Goldstein, Eli, has a chance to turn up here, having represented Belgium in the Academy Trophy in years gone by and made his World Championship debut in junior back in 2017. It's his first event in FIA karting since then, 5 years ago when he was only 14. Now here he is, and the 19-year-old Belgian has a real chance to give Belgium their second ever FIA Motorsport Games gold medal, let alone in karting. So we're going to take a pause, and we're going to get ourselves ready for the gold medal races in Sprint Junior and Sprint Senior. In both competitions we could see some history made, and there's definitely going to be a nail-biting run all the way to the checkered flag. See you in a bit. This is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. The wait is finally over. It has been an absolutely sensational build-up. Ready are we for the start of the FIA Motorsport Games finals in Karting Sprint Junior and Karting Sprint Senior, starting with the former of the two classes. I'm Jake Sanson. I'm your guide for these two races alongside my colleague Guillaume Alvarez, and we are going to have a fantastic run for the gold. The first time ever that karting as a sprint category has ever been inducted into the FIA Motorsport Games. And for the pride of your nation, there are now 30 competitors trying to give their nation the gold medal. It is going to be a fantastic battle here on the Circuit Paul Ricard. The drivers and their nation's flags are now making their way to the starting grid, and it is going to be a very exciting final. 26 laps of the circuit. It is going to be a very intriguing and very thrilling battle all the way through. Qualifying heats have been won by 3 different nations over the course of the first 3 qualifying races. France took the first, the second was taken by Brazil, and the third taken by Israel. And now the nations are making their way out onto the circuit, ready for this incredible challenge. The first ever gold medal race in the FIA Motorsport Games for Karting Sprint Junior. This is going to be a fantastic battle and an amazing challenge for all of our youngsters to battle around the circuit. All in identical Kart Republic chassis with AMI engines and MG tyres. And they will now make their way to the circuit carrying and bearing their nation's flag. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The nations work their way forward for Brazil and for France on the front row of the starting grid. On the second row, Peru and Israel. On the third row of the grid, Estonia and the Czech Republic. On the fourth row, Slovenia and Denmark. On the fifth row of the grid, Portugal and Spain. On the 6th row of the grid, Sweden and Slovakia. On the 7th row of the grid, Turkey and Lithuania. On the 8th row of the grid, Costa Rica and Indonesia. On the 9th row, Germany and Finland. On the 10th row of the grid, Poland and South Africa. On the 11th row, Ukraine and Belgium. On the 12th row of the starting grid, Australia and Mozambique. On the 13th row, India and Switzerland. On the 14th row, Malta and Georgia. And on the final row of the grid, Mexico and Uzbekistan. It is a wonderful sight to see 30 nations from all around the globe represented here on the starting line at the Circuit Paul Ricard. Great to see so many incredible countries making their way forward for such a momentous occasion and a fabulous event. The first time ever that karting as a sprint format will ever get a gold medal represented. I'm on the starting line and we have 2 fabulous guests with us down here on the starting grid. First of all, Felipe Massa is with us. Felipe, great to see you back in karting again at this level, and what a fantastic weekend.
Well, great to see all of you guys here for this important final for the OK Junior. We have here Jean Alesi, which is a part of being a brother, you know, a good brother from long time, you know, in Formula 1, in Ferrari, history as well. It's great to be here, you know, with all of these amazing drivers for the final, and we know maybe one of them in this category, in the senior as well, can be the future in Formula 1, so I'm really supporting all of them, me and Jan, and I'm sure we're going to have a very, very nice final. For sure my heart is beating a little bit more for Brazil, but we are both here in the first row, you know. So anyway, it's a big support for all of them. It's important, you know, that we support all of these drivers, you know, for the to learn, you know, and to improve and grow year by year in the karting.
It's wonderful to see you back, Felipe. Thank you so much for being back with us once again. We're also joined by Formula 1 driver for Ferrari and so many others. Jean Alesi is down here on the starting line. Jean, it's great to see you in the world of karting at this level as well. An interested spectator, but what an amazing occasion for the sport as well.
Absolutely. I'm very, very impressed with Felipe since yesterday. We see so many drivers, different categories. But today we are on a karting place. The circuit is great, but the kids, it's where they learn to respect each other, to be disciplined, and to be fast. So, you know, there is many nationality today, and that is a big success. Big success.
And of course, you've been a karting father yourself as well, because your son Giuliano came through the ranks of karting and he's just finished the season out in Super Formula in Japan this morning. So you know better than most here just how much hard work it takes for these kids.
Absolutely. I mean, the worst position for a father is when and for the mother, when the kid want to be a racing car driver. So I know here there is many parents, and I understand how much they are suffering, but they support the kids. It's a very tough moment because they are young, and the process is not short, and is going from losing and winning. So it's very important to keep pushing and to be very disciplined and supported by the family.
Well, it's wonderful to have your company, Sean. Thank you very much. Final word from you, Felipe. Obviously, it's been a year now since you were last our FIA Karting president, but it's clear that your legacy lives on here through the activities of the Motorsport Games and through the projects that are now coming through into the future. It must be really rewarding to see that your efforts are still very much evident here in the FIA Karting paddock.
Well, I think the important thing is to try to give something back, you know. So me and Jean, we had a lot more than what we expected, you know, in our career, going a lot more than what we expected. So at the end, it's important to try to give something back, to try to pass your experience, you know, for especially in the karting, but also in the other championships, to keep improving, to keep developing, you know, all of the categories. So I think that's the most important thing, and it's a really big proud to be here in the FIA Motorsport Games. But also I couldn't, you know, lose this important final here in the karting.
It's wonderful to have you back. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you, Jean. Great to have you with us as our guests here on the starting grid. What an amazing spectacle this has already started to be, and we've got some incredible drivers. I'm going to try and make my way down to the front row of the starting grid to grab a word with our two drivers who are at the sharp end. It's great to have so many distinguished guests here at the front end, and it's quite funny actually because we have Felipe Massa and Jean Alesi here as guests, and their nations represented drivers are sharing the front row of the starting grid. I'm going to see if we have time to have a quick word with our representative for Brazil on pole position, Gabriel Kunakan. Gabriel, it's been such a great weekend for you. You've been able to work hard through the 3 qualifying heats to be here on pole position. How are the nerves coming into this one?
Yeah, I'm really nervous. I will try to do my best in this race. We have the pace, and that's it.
And of course, you have the chance to give Brazil their first ever FIA Motorsport Games gold. I guess the plan is just to do your race, focus, and make sure the tyres go the distance.
Yeah, I will focus so much on this race. As I said, I will try to do my best and bring the medal to Brazil.
Obrigado, Gabriel. Thank you very much.
Obrigado.
So it's going to be a very interesting one for Gabriel Kunakan. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, he's actually having pictures at the moment with Jean Alesi and, of course, his coach at Jada Racing. I want to see, maybe we've just about got time for a quick word with Jules Caranta on the front row of the grid before he disappears into the distance. Jules, it's been a very tough weekend, but you've been able to secure a place on the front row of the starting grid here on home soil. France has been going well so far in the games. What are the chances of another gold?
Yeah, I'm really happy to be in this event because it's so good to be at home in France, and I will do my best to enjoy my race and win this one.
You've already had a very successful karting season and won a European title. This one, I guess, perhaps maybe even more special if you get the job done.
Yeah, I'm at my home track, so it will be really special if I win this one, and I will do my best all the race.
Well, merci beaucoup et bonne chance aujourd'hui.
Merci.
There you go, Jules Caranta getting himself ready for the chance to go for the gold medal, the first ever that has been awarded to a karting sprint driver. Just behind him on the starting grid, we have the Peruvian Andrés Cardenas, who will be there on the inside of the second row. A great chance for South America to potentially come home with 2 medals over the course of the event. But of course, we've got to consider Israel and their young star, Jan Pinto, who has been amazing through the course of the weekend. He was the fastest driver in time qualifying. As you keep an eye on Andrés Cardenas of Peru, he has a great chance to put on an excellent display. Jan Pinto is alongside him on the starting grid. And then moving back to the third row of the starting grid, 2 nations that would dearly love to add a medal to their roster. Jacob Kamenik, who is there on the outside of the outside of the third row of the starting grid. And for Estonia, alongside him, Mark Dubnitsky, hoping to put on a show as he is there in fifth position on the grid. A great chance for him. His consistency has been absolutely impeccable through the course of proceedings. The 3-minute board has gone up on the foot of the start-finish straight. We'll keep an eye on the drivers behind the top 6. Alexander Bogunovic of Slovenia and Mikkel Gert Pedersen of Denmark. Rodrigo Seabra of Portugal, the Racing Wolf, will be there in 9th position on the grid. And alongside him for Spain, Aaron Garcia. Lots of great opportunities. All 30 drivers have just as equal a chance of getting to the top spot. It is going to be a really exciting battle. But now we are going to gear ourselves up ready for racing. 26 laps of this Circuit Paul Ricard for karting. It's going to be a very tough mission to get to the gold medal, but every single driver knows how hard it's been. They have worked incredibly disciplined and very strong weekends to get to this point. Now comes the moment of truth. Who will win the gold? Let's find out. Over to Guillaume Alvarez.
Thank you very much indeed, Jake Sanson, and a warm welcome once again to everybody here. Bienvenue à tous et tous in the south of France, the beautiful region of Le Castellet, as we are live from the karting track of Paul Ricard, getting ourselves ready for some incredible action, as we're gonna have in just a few moments and 2 minutes now before the start of this junior final. A total of 26 laps, 25 kilometers. This is more than twice the distance that they had to go through in the qualifying heats. They had 11 laps, 3 qualifying heats to make their way up until the final. But everybody is getting ready. Fantastic. A couple of interviews. Thank you very much, Jake Sanson, on the grid to give you guys live from the karting track of Paul Ricard a proper vibe from the heart of the action. Great to have as well with us this Sunday of racing the likes of Jean Lézy and Felipe Massa, former Formula 1 drivers, among many other achievements, and give you a proper vibe of what's been happening onto the start-finish straight. It's going to be a great spectacle, Jake, as we have 30 nations from all 4 corners of the world. 1 minute left before we go for the warm-up lap, and then it's all about 26 laps of furious racing. The young lions will be unleashed, but only one in the end of those 26 laps will get to be crowned winner of the gold medal.
Very true. I feel about 15 years old getting ready for this. I'm about to watch and speak about the first ever gold medal at the FIA Motorsport Games for the Sprint Junior, and I've just interviewed Felipe Massa and Jean Lézy. I'm going to wake up in about 10 minutes. Excellent stuff. 30-second board goes up on the starting line here, ready for the first ever FIA Motorsport Games final in Sprint Junior. The winner of this race will give Karting Sprint its first ever FIA Motorsport Games gold medal, and we are so excited to figure out who that driver is going to be. There have been golds spread around the nations already, for Italy, for France, for Belgium, for the Netherlands, for the Ukraine, for Japan, Australia, the UK and Latvia over the years. But now it's time to see which nation is going to add a gold medal from the world of Sprint Junior karting. It's Brazil and France on the front row of the grid, Peru and Israel on the second row, then Estonia and the Czech Republic, from Slovenia and Denmark, Portugal and Spain, Sweden and Slovakia, Turkey and Lithuania, Costa Rica and Indonesia, Germany and Finland, Poland and South Africa, Ukraine and Belgium, Australia and Mozambique, India and Switzerland, Malta, Georgia, Mexico and Uzbekistan. Every single one of these 30 countries has worked incredibly hard over the week to get to this stage, but this is the moment of truth. The winner of this race takes the Sprint Junior gold medal.
2 more medals as well, with the silver and the bronze to be awarded to complete the podium, and the battle will be certainly the hardest of all weekend. They had 3 races to make it to this point, 30 drivers on track, the warm-up lap, the second one about to be completed to get the tires up to temperature. The track, 964 meters, 13 different corners, 3 sectors. Keep an eye on turn number 11 and 12, the 2 hairpins in the last sector as well. This is where we've seen most of the overtaking maneuvers through the course of the qualifying heats, even though into the last heat we could feel the tension rising and the will of the drivers to get more attempts and to get more maneuvers in other parts of the track. Turn 1 is one to keep an eye on, as well as turn number 10 in the sector number 2. Mr. Jean Lézy and Mr. Felipe Massa on the sideline, just in front of our position in the speaking booth by the start-finish straight. So good to have those legendary figures of Formula 1 with us to support the next generation of karters. And what better place, what better event than the FIA Motorsport Games edition number 2, 3 years after Vallelunga. We're here in Marseille, and this is about to go live in just a few moments.
Brazil, France, Peru, Israel. The battle will start from the front of the grid here in Karting Sprint Junior. Are we going racing this time for the gold medal? We are indeed. Up to the first corner. Great start for the pole sitter into the first corner. No problems at all for the kart in second, third position, moving their way forward. That is Peru getting up into second place. A little bit of jockeying for position as they work their way through the first chicane, and out in front it is Brazil charging away from Peru. So the South Americans doing a fantastic job at the start of this final. 26 laps of the course. It's a long, grueling race. There is so much to come in these 26 laps. The lap time may be about 47 seconds, but a lot can happen in these 26 laps. And already the drivers are putting on a bit of a show. Big tank slapper. Who is that going sideways? That looked to me like the Czech Republic. I think Jacob Kamenik just lost the back end a little bit. Managed to gather it up before it became a big problem. So at the end of the first lap, Brazil leads the way with Peru and France charging after him. Then it is Israel in fourth position with Estonia and Denmark in pursuit. So Gabriel Kunikan of Brazil leads the way here from Cardenas of Peru, Caranta of France, Pinto of Israel and Dubnitsky of Estonia.
Yeah, the junior final is underway here live from Paul Ricard. A good start for everybody onto the track, unlike what we had in some of the heats with a lot of action happening in the turn number 1. This time around we had another. Jules Caranta goes for P2. Beautifully made around the inside of turn number 2. France is upper place in second position. Watch out for the back as well with the 126. This is Israel and Jan Pinto trying his bit at the end of the lap. But Jules Caranta went for the move at such an early stage in the race. That was a ballsy one, but he just made it successful, trying to pursuit. Gabriel Cunningham from Brazil pulling away as on the inside as well. Israel being overtaken by the 118 of Mark Dubnitsky for Estonia. Estonia upper place, and watch how the battle keeps on going with the 120 as well, battling along and beautifully made around the inside. Watch out for the contact as the 126 is about to lose a place, I'm afraid, but you can see, you can feel the heat already in the early stages of this final, and this is of course the action that we're going to see through the race. But the young lions are unleashed and there will be no place certainly for caution.
Some of the best racing we've seen all week already in this final in the first 2 or 3 laps, and it looks like a hard charging maneuver there from Aaron Garcia. The Spaniard has already managed to get his way forward past the Slovenian Alex Bogunovic. So as they work their way forward, it's already a very tough race battle out there on the course. Some of these drivers will know this kind of racing of old, having competed in the FIA Karting Academy Trophy, a very similar competition to this one, where they all race on equal machinery, and again, it's for the pride of their nation. But this is such a tough discipline in front of the world stage, in front of the motorsport community, not just in front of the karting community. And here they are battling for a gold medal for the pride of their nation. This is such a big honor for these youngsters. For Brazil leading the way, it's looking good as up the inside. That's a nice overtaking move there from the Czech Republic, getting through and passing Slovenia, or at least hanging on to the position. They were dueling already at the beginning of the lap. So over the end of the lap, it is Brazil still leading the way from France. Then it is Peru, from Estonia, Israel, Denmark, Spain, the Czech Republic, Slovenia and Sweden. A great run in the top 10 so far, but as you can see, Pinto and Pedersen, Israel versus Denmark is just growing in crescendo at the moment.
This is the battle for P5 as Thibaut Ramakers from Belgium is setting up the fastest lap, 44.7. Thibaut Ramakers trying to make his bit and climbing through the ranks of this race. He's P18 at the moment, having climbed 4 positions. Not the best of results for Thibaut Ramakers, who had 2 difficult qualifying heats. And all he needs to do, run the inside, goes the 123, beautifully made. This is for the back. This is Matej Konish getting ahead of Portugal. Rodrigo Seabra for P11.
But Seabra got him straight back again, so Seabra, the racing wolf as he is known, has managed to recover the position. And here he is flying the flag for Portugal, battling away in 11th position, working his way forward. A great run so far from Rodrigo Seabra, trying to get himself further forward. And he is there battling away with the 123 of the Slovakian Matej Koenig. But the fastest lap of the race comes from France. Jules Caranta upping the ante, and the Frenchman has his eyes firmly fixed on the Brazilian up front. He wants to win on home soil and take a gold medal.
This was about time for Jules Caranta from France to make his move on lap number 2, because he was able to really put on the pace and decrease the gap. We had more than 1 second between Brazil and France in 1 and 2. Now it's getting down to 0.8 of a second, and maybe even less this time around. Still the same. Gabriel Koenigan from Brazil in the lead, is responding to the charge of Jules Caranta. Run inside for the back. This is a 1:23. Still battling from Slovakia. Mateusz Koenig is trying to keep Rodrigo Seabra from Portugal at bay in 12th place, as Alp Hassan Aksoy from Turkey in 13, trying to get himself in the mix. So there's battles all over the place into this field of the junior class. Is getting heated by the lap, and we're going to keep an eye, of course, on the battle for P1 between Brazil and France. Andres Cardenas still very much in 3rd place on the way to turn number 11. This is the roller coaster sort of turn, last sector. Run inside in the first hairpin, goes the 1:15, beautifully made by the Turkish driver Aksoy, upper place in 12 in front of Portugal.
And Silkunas got through on the inside as well, so not only Aksoy but also Silkunas as we come down the straight up to the first corner. Good battles everywhere. Silkunas is going to try and dive through, but Seabra holds on to the position and manages in fact to pick one off. So a good run there from Seabra as he makes another place here. Jules Caranta bangs in yet another fastest lap for France. Oh, the irony of this, we've got Brazil versus France up front. On the sidelines, Felipe Massa and Jean Alesi watching along. They've got so much in common, those two. They've both raced for Ferrari and Sauber in Formula 1, and they've both got their charged nation trying to battle for the win here in the Sprint Junior. How amazing is that? You couldn't script it. On the inside and up and over. Oh, that's not gone well for Silkunas as he tries to take on Seabra. They've both lost ground as a result. And I'm afraid it's going to be Rodrigo Seabra who comes off worst. He's got a warning flag. He's going to tumble down the field. That is so unfortunate for the Portuguese charge. He's trying to hang on to it on the inside at turn 1. He battles as good as he's got, and he's just nudged away there by the 107 of Peter Andrew Buzanelos of Australia. And now diving through up the inside, that looks like the Mozambique star, the Joker, Ghazi Motlakar, going for his move on the inside as well. And off the road goes Rodrigo Seabra. That's so unfortunate for the Portuguese driver. I think he is out. That is such a shame for Rodrigo Seabra. Is diving in. That is Spain going wheel to wheel with Israel. Israel over the curbs. Spain gives them no room whatsoever. That was ruthless efficiency from Aaron Garcia.
Yeah, fantastic move from Aaron Garcia up to P5 for Spain at a moment in front of Israel. Aaron Garcia, who had a DNF in his last qualifying heat, so there's no gloves whatsoever in terms of driving style for the final. As you can see, the 103 on the sideline.
Rodrigo Seabra
from Portugal is out of this race, unfortunately being taken on the sideline by the marshals. So quite an unfortunate turn of event at such an early stage of this final. We're about to conclude lap number 10 out of 26. And impressive driving style from the youngsters of the junior class ever since the start of the race. There's no gloves whatsoever. This is being aggressive, this is being fair, but I'm pretty sure that the marshals and the officials by the sideline will have both the eyes open to try to digest all the maneuvers, as this one run inside of turn number 12. This is beautifully made by the 106. Happening for the back, this is Thibaut Ramakers from Belgium getting ahead of Hibowo from Indonesia. A battle for 13 as Thibaut Ramakers is up. Here's the replay of the action that we had. Aaron Garcia on the inside of turn number 11, pushing a little bit wide Israel, the 126. Jan Pinto, who was the fastest in qualifying on Friday, losing a bit of ground at the moment, but still hanging on in the 6th place with Mikael Pedersen from Denmark just on his tail. So we're going to have to keep an eye as well on the battle for 6 between Israel and Denmark. But you can see the drivers still very much glued to each other, as the gap between the leaders, Brazil against France, just went down to less than 0.4 of a second, almost halfway through this race. We conclude lap number 12 as 0.4 still between Koenigan and Caranta. We're driving right now with the 127. This is Jakub Kamenik from Czech Republic trying to chase Mikael Pedersen and Jan Pinto from Israel.
There's the replay of what happened that slowly dropped Rodrigo Seabra down the field as he sadly connected there with the 112 of Marcos Silkunas of Lithuania. That started the chain reaction, unfortunately, and from there on in, for the rest of the next lap, Seabra was fighting a losing battle, and unfortunately the Portuguese driver is now sadly out of the race. That's such a shame. He's been such a great competitor. Over in Germany, he was the rookie champion in OK Junior, so he knows exactly how to get the job done. Just unlucky here at Paul Ricard in the Motorsport Games. But look how close it's got now between France and Brazil. Brazil still leads the way, but France has closed right up. Jules Caranta still feels that there's a chance. We're not even at the halfway stage yet, so there's still a good shot for Jules Caranta to move his way forward and grab the gold medal. He will never have felt more pressure than this. He has competed in several titles over the years. He was a European title winner in the IAME Euro Series this year, and of course all of these karts are powered by that engine, so he knows the power of old. But this is a bigger opportunity than he's ever had in his career. Similar for Gabriel Koenekan of Brazil. These two drivers are going wheel to wheel. It's Brazil versus France for the gold medal in the Sprint Junior here at the FIA Motorsport Games. Bring it on.
Bring it on indeed. The match is on. And the dilemma certainly playing under the helmet of France, Jules Caranta. Shall I try to get my move done as quickly as possible? Shall I wait until the later stages of this race? But look how close they are. He is with 44.8. This is pretty much equal lap time for the two leaders, pulling away from the rest of the field as Andres Cardenas from Peru is still very much in third place. He has 1 second advantage of Mark Dubinsky from Estonia. But those two have not lost contact from each other since the start of the race. Now the pressure is on Brazil. Gabriel Koenekan doing a great job so far into the previous races with 1 win, a second and a third. That put him up the upper part of the class, and now is confirming once again all the good we've been thinking of him. But Jules Caranta, a familiar name in the ranks of international karting, as well as Andres Cardenas and Dubinsky. The battle for France as Peru and Estonia very much in the mix. But the question is when to pass and where to pass, because this is such a tricky track. I'm quite amazed actually how many overtaking maneuvers we've had since the start of the race at places, especially turn number 1, where we actually didn't see anything happening into the heats. So you can really see and feel that the drivers are giving the absolute best in trying those maneuvers to happen. But Thibaut Ramakers is responding, one of the fastest on track as he keeps on climbing. The young Belgian is in P13 at the moment.
And there is a bit of pressure here now from the competitors, obviously, because we've got 2 nations in the top 3 that have never won a medal at the FIA Motorsport Games before. Brazil and Peru are both in the top 3, and they are yet to take their first medals in the Motorsport Games. France has been on a bit of a rout here on home soil. They really want to get the job done again here in the karting if they can. Belgium picked up the gold in the endurance yesterday for karting, but it's France who has a chance to go for it, and he had to think about it there. Koenekan almost gave him a window of opportunity. So now the battle really is raging between Brazil and France. They're going to work for it on the far side. They come off the 3rd sector and they will come up and over the top of the brow with exactly 10 laps to go in this final. Koenekan getting a little bit wide on the curbs. Caranta's got him on the run up towards turn 1. A little bit of trail breaking there for Brazil. No major issues. Caranta of France still hustling his every move, trying to find the... Oh, that's 2 retirements, unfortunately. Further back, that is game over for Australia and Costa Rica. So Australia and Costa Rica out of the race, I'm afraid. That is game over for both drivers. Peter Andrew Buzanelos of Australia and Diego Ardiles of Costa Rica as they come together, and they are out of the race. Koenekan is already starting to defend a little bit here. It looks like France is going to have a look for the move. Brazil knows he's there. He's going to hold the line for the moment. This is where the battle for the gold really begins. And if they're not careful, Peru is going to sneak in and snatch it from both of them. They've got to be careful. Running wide. They come up and over the top of the crest now. Brazil's going to go defensive. France comes around the outside. Tries to go slow in, fast out. There's no room to maneuver, but here comes Peru. Peru wants to go for the gold medal as well. 3 of them locked in mortal combat.
Yeah, watch out for any bumper contact over there because they're glued together for the past 2 laps. And watch out, Caranta going wide on the way to turn number 7 on the right. That's going to be a tricky part, but he has to shut the door as well because Peru is very much in the mix as well. Watch out for Cardenas around the inside. He goes for P2 side by side, but Caranta is shutting the door on the outside. That was a close first call. Peru very much in the game as Caranta is trying not to lose contact with the lead of Brazil. But look at how close they are. And watch out coming back as well. Aaron Garcia and Mark Dubinsky. That's Estonia being the 4th wagon in this first part of the track.
Oh
on the way to turn number 1. That was close. Caranta goes on the inside and takes the lead.
And Cardenas is going to try and get both of them. Peru trying to get through past both. He has to hang back. Through comes Estonia. All of a sudden, Brazil goes from 1st to 4th as France hits the front. France takes the lead on home soil. 2nd now for Peru. 3rd for Estonia. Fourth place for Brazil, and in fifth place is Israel, and they are all separated now by less than a second. Defensive tactics from Brazil backfire early in the race, and it's not quite going to be a medal yet. There's still time, but Israel's now up alongside Brazil. They get through into fourth position. Good work from Jan Pinto. He's in fourth position, but it's still wide open for the medals. At the moment, it's France ahead of Peru and Estonia. Here's the move. Brazil just too defensive. Look at Peru though, they almost got past France in the same breath, almost 2 into 1. So now Cardenas for Peru is going to have to work his magic, and there's Estonia getting past Brazil as well. All of a sudden, from first down to fourth, and we have still got so much battling to go. Jules Carrantes picked up a warning flag for it.
Oh, we've seen that happening before as well with some of the moves, but unfortunately there's a warning flag for your current leader. France in the lead. Jules Carrantes picked up this flag for the move in turn number 1. What a beautiful battle that is. And around the inside of turn number 12. Oh, diving through. Beautifully made by Jan Pinto. He was indeed making his move up to third on Estonia. So Israel up in the position on the podium.
What a dive from Israel into third position. And don't forget, Israel is still seeking their first FIA Motorsport Games medal, and they could get it done right here, right now, with 6 laps to go on the Circuit Paul Ricard for karting. The fans are loving this on the sidelines. France has the lead at the moment over Peru and Israel, 2 nations that have yet to take a Motorsport Games medal and could do so here on the karting circuit. But Estonia, Brazil and Denmark are still so close, as is Sweden in 7th place with Lindblom. 8th position currently for Spain and Garcia. Slovenia are 9th, and Belgium are all the way up in 10th. Timo Ramakers has made up 12 places. I'll tell you what, they're having a great year in karting, as off goes Pedersen for Denmark. That allows Sweden through into B6. I'll tell you what, Timo Ramakers is making an absolute barnstormer of this.
Yeah, watch out for the young Belgian driver. He's had a massive season in Belgian, vice champion on home soil.
He's now in 8th. He's just made up 2 places on that one lap. Ramakers really wants this.
Yeah, there you go. Let's keep an eye as well on this one, and how far up he will be able to go after the misfortunes he had in the qualifying heats. But we are far from having seen everything in this final. It can go all over the place. It can be turned upside down in the split of a second, especially in that part of the track. Round the inside, and it's going to be a bit successful. Yes, indeed. Estonia up a position in front of Israel.
Oh, and that's caught out Brazil. Brazil now dropped to 6th position. Sweden have got through into B5. So it's all looking perfectly good for those 4, but not for the Brazilian. Up to 3rd place now comes Dubnitsky for Estonia. They are battling over the bronze medal. It looks as though gold and silver are almost completely secure. It's up to Peru now to keep the flags flying. They're in 2nd position. Peru looking for their first ever medal in the FIA Motorsport Games, and deservedly so it will be. But Sweden fancy their chances of a medal here. Lindblom is charging back. He's in 5th position. He's got time to do something about this. He's having a look on the inside of Israel, who goes defensive. Israel tags with Estonia, and that's Lindblom and Pinto. Sweden and Israel have gone. Oh, disaster for both nations. They were looking so strong. They're going to join Spain, Uzbekistan, Costa Rica, Australia and Portugal on the sidelines. And that promotes Dubnitsky to 3rd position in front of Kunikan of Brazil. Oh, disastrous. But I'm afraid Israel and, well, it's disaster for Israel and Sweden. Both nations gone with 3 laps to go.
That's what we feared might happen actually in this particular sector. Those tight hairpin have seen so many battles and so many good overtaking maneuvers. The yellow flag still being waved. The time for the marshals to remove the carts from Jan Pinto, still very much on the racing line. That's quite a difficult position, isn't it? But the drivers have been warned. They have to reduce the pace and go around the cart of the poor Jan Pinto out of this final. And you can see the despair. You can feel for him after what happened, because he's not particularly responsible. We're going to have to see that again. But as a result, this is a DNF on top of the FIA Motorsport Games for him. He was looking and running so strong into this upper field, but that's part of racing, and racing can be cruel at times.
He really felt that the medal was on there for Israel, and I think I was with him all the way. I think there was a good shot for a medal there for Israel. Let's have a look at it again. They dive through to the inside line. That's a big commitment from Dubnitsky. It catches out. This is the move a couple of laps before, I think. So that was Dubnitsky on Pinto. We're hopefully going to get to see that in the highlights. But we are going into the final lap, and it looks as though it's yet another moment of joy for France. He only has another 800 meters or so before he cleans up.
Beautiful performance from France's Jules Carenta, who was able to really put himself in the lead and build a gap from then on. More than 1 second on Peru, and Andres Cardenas, Mark Dubinski in third. But this will be a brilliant achievement for a driver who we all know about the brilliance in the championship of this season.
The home nation is about to take yet another gold medal here at the Circuit Paul Ricard in the 2022 FIA Motorsport Games. It's gold for France. Jules Carenta a gagné. Victory for Jules Carenta on home soil, and for France, it's a gold medal. The first ever in Karting Sprint Junior goes to Jules Carenta and France. It's silver for Peru, their first ever FIA Motorsport Games. Felipe Massa and Jean Alesi greet them home. It's a bronze medal for Estonia and Mark Dubnitsky, but the gold goes to France. Yet another accolade in this 2022 FIA Motorsport Games for the home nation. Jules Carenta is the king of Sprint Junior. Magnifique!
Allons-en. Allons enfants de la patrie. That's a French anthem for you guys. My part on the anthem, but to celebrate and a well-deserved victory for Jules Carenta and France on home soil. Congratulations to Jules Carenta. Congratulations to his team and mechanic. But what a beautiful final this has been. What a beautiful performance as Jake Jensen going down to the pit lane to try to grab a couple of information and grab suddenly an interview from our winner of the Sprint Junior Final, winner of the gold medal of the FIA Motorsport Games. Jules Carenta for France is your winner after 26 laps of fury here on the karting track of Paul Ricard. Andres Cardenas for Peru is the winner of the silver medal. Mark Dubnitsky from Estonia running up the top three and the podium with the bronze medal for himself. Then we have Gabriel Koenigan from Brazil in P4. Mikkel Pedersen from Denmark in P5. Then we have Alexander Bekunovic in P6. Tibor Hamakas for Belgium in P7. The rest of the classification appearing with Jakub Kamenic from Czech Republic in P8. From Turkey, Alp Ashan Akso in P9. Followed by Markas Silkunas from Lithuania in P10. Then we have Matej Konik in P11. Adija Ibowo in P12, Lois Lizen in P13, Matilda Pats, the only girl that we get to see compete at this level in the junior field, in P14. Then we have Gasi Motaka in P16, Kimi Tanin from Finland is P16, followed by Ishan Madishin from India in P17. Then we have DJ Nedu, Mejar Edgar Rodriguez, Lado Kujanti in P20. Here's the replay and some of the highlights of this junior final. And this was a first attempt of a start with Jules Carenta on the inside for France, with the pole sitter from Brazil, Gabriel Koenigan, on the left side. A pretty good start for everybody into the field on their way to turn number one. No major incident, a bit of wheel banging here and there, but we got to keep everybody on the course of the track into this opening lap. It was up until the passage of turn number 2 and 3. It tangled together with the 1012, unfortunately, that managed to drive on almost 2 wheels. But in the end, for Markas Kilunas, he made it up into P10 at the end of the race. But you could see that it was hectic at all stages of the field into this final. There was no gloves driving from every stage, and the drivers were keen on making those overtaking maneuvers happen at all 4 corners of the track, especially in turn number 1. This particular turn, the hairpin of 11, has seen a lot of battles as well, but the pressure was on the leader, Gabriel Koenigan from Brazil, being harassed by France's Jules Carenta, or future leader or future winner of this final. But before that, he had to go a further move, as with the pressure of the rest of the field, the 105. It happened in turn number 1, taking his chance on the inside, and you could see Andres Cardenas from Peru taking not 1 but 2 positions in the process, up to second, and it was the start of disaster for Koenigan from Brazil, as it dropped down a couple of places into the classification, having to wait for the right moment to move back. Then one of the biggest moments of the race, around the inside, the battle that we saw through Israel and Jan Pinto trying to make his bid through the classification, and then disaster happened, and this incident between Sweden, Scott Lindblom, and Israel, with Jan Pinto both having to watch the rest of the race from the sideline. So it was a double DNF, unfortunately, after showing such a strong pace through the course of the weekend, and you could see the despair from Israel's Jan Pinto after the incident, opposing him to Sweden and Scott Lindblom. But in the end, it was a perfect run to the line and the checkered flag, a gold medal on home soil for Jules Caranta from France after an epic performance in front of Andres Cardenas for Peru and Mark Dudinsky, promoted to P3 with the bronze medal for himself in front of Brazil and Denmark, Mikkel Pedersen. Beautiful performance overall, as we're going to try to hear from Jules Cardenas himself, the winner of this junior final on the pit lane. Don't go anywhere, as we're going to have the senior final, the senior class with 30 nations, 30 drivers as well. In a couple of minutes, the presentation of the drivers will appear and will take place once again on the start-finish straight. And stay with us on FIA Motorsport Games.com, on Motorsport TV, and all social media as well, as we will keep on providing you interviews and feedback from the drivers themselves. So here we are live from the pit lane. You can see a lot of action and a lot of congratulations, certainly, as we have a closer look on the machine of Jules Caranta being put on the scale at the moment. This is through the scrutiny ring. As you can see, a lot of flags waving in the wind. We have in total through the 16 series in the FIA Motorsport Games, 72 drivers and 30 that we had in the junior, 30 more nations in the senior category. But what a beautiful performance that has been. Here's a view, a wider view of the track, 964 meters, and so many great moves pulled together by the drivers of the junior class. Expect the same to happen for the senior, as we will see in a couple of moments the sprint of 32 laps of a distance. This is more that the usual length that you get in gearbox classes in the KZ and the KZ2 FIA Karting World Championships. 32 races is twice the distance of the qualifying heats. You can see here Jules Caranta being congratulated by Jean Alesi himself. Nice to have Mr. Alesi on to the track, as we're going to try to hear a bit more from the French driver after this beautiful performance. Jean Alesi certainly proud of the younger generation of drivers showing the colors of France at on the upper stage of the track. And I think that Jake Sanson is with Jules Caranta. Let's hear from the French winner of the junior final.
I have with me the first ever gold medalist in the FIA Motorsport Games in Karting Sprint Junior, Jules Caranta for France. Jules, what an amazing moment, what an incredible race that was. You really had to fight for that. It was never given to you. Just talk us through that epic final.
No, it was just amazing. At the beginning of the weekend, I was thinking, yeah, going in the front, but I wasn't really sure because there's so much nation, so much good drivers. So no, I'm really happy, and I'm going to celebrate it with all my team.
What was it like having Jean Alesi put his arm around you at the end of winning the gold medal? I mean, are you just like the happiest kid in France right now?
Yeah, for sure, but he was such an amazing driver, and being congratulated by him is amazing.
So this ends a fantastic karting season for you. Whatever happens from now on, you are the first ever gold medalist in the FIA Motorsport Games for karting sprints. How does it feel?
No, it's feeling really good. I really like the event, and the next one I want to be here.
Magnifique. Congratulations, Jules Caranta.
Merci.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jules Caranta, the first ever gold medalist in the FIA Motorsport Games 2022 for Karting Sprint Junior. What an amazing spectacle. What a fantastic race it was. And now we get to have one more, as next up, it is the Karting Sprint Senior. I can't wait.
Thank you very much, Jake Sanson, for the interview with Jules Caranta. France is winning the junior final at the end of those beautiful and hectic 26 laps of racing. Don't go anywhere, as in just a few moments we're going to have the last and the most expected finals of them all, the senior category being into the action on track in just a few moments, as we're going to have 30 more drivers from 30 different nations ready to compete for glory. 3 medals up for grab. As for the juniors, we're going to have the gold, the silver and the bronze for the drivers. 32 laps to go through, 30 drivers onto the track, as they went through qualifying heats as well in the same system with the junior category. In the heats, Eli Goldstein and Nacho Tunan will be starting from pole position and the first row of the grid. We're going to go through the grid in just a few moments, but Belgium has had the upper hand in the qualifying heat so far, with Eli Goldstein winning 2 races out of 3. One that he finished in second on track, but he inherited the win after the penalty picked by his strongest and nearest rival from Sweden, Joel Bergström, and the last one he won fair and square on track. So that put him in pole position in front of Nacho Tunan and Joel Bergström in third place. So that's going to be a very, very interesting and intense battle between the likes of Belgium, Spain, Sweden and Germany, as well as Sri Lanka up in the mix with the young Jevan David that we have seen shining in the FIA Karting Championship and the Academy Trophy in 2021. So the drivers are making their way onto the track, as we're gonna see the full grid in just a moment, and hopefully some interviews as well with you, Jake Sanson, in just a moment. As you can see, the flags flying in the air at the moment. There's gonna be a great display of talents and great display of colors. Over to you, Jake.
Well, as if we hadn't already had enough fun, now we get to do it all again for the Sprint Senior Final. 32 laps of the course are set to come, and it's time for another gold rush as we battle for the victory. It's going to be a fantastic situation, and here we are on the front row of the grid with Belgium and Spain ready to go for the gold medal in Sprint Senior. It's going to be a fantastic run for them. On the second row, Sweden and Germany. On the third row, Sri Lanka and Israel. On the fourth row, Chile and Hungary. On the fifth row, Lithuania and Estonia. On the sixth row, India and Austria. On the seventh row, Hong Kong, China and Slovakia. On the eighth row, Denmark and Brazil. On the ninth row, Kuwait and Poland. On the 10th row, Indonesia and Australia. On the 11th row, Venezuela and Ukraine. On the 12th row, Barbados and Malta. On the 13th row, Portugal and Chinese Taipei. On the 14th row, Nigeria and Mozambique. And on the final row, Costa Rica and Panama. What an incredible display of drivers down here on the starting grid, ready for the battle for the gold. Just an incredible spectacle. So before we get into the serious business of racing, there are a few drivers that I want to have a word with down here on the main starting straight. First and foremost, with the man in pole position, Eli. This is one of the toughest moments of your career so far. Pole position, having had such an incredible build up to this. Your grandfather sowed the seeds for the Goldstein family's reputation. This is your moment to step into the limelight.
Yeah, I hope to bring the gold medal for Belgium. It's an amazing event here. Yeah, I want to do everything for my country, and we will see what happens.
You have won pretty much everything there is to win at IAME racing level, both back home in Belgium and in Europe, as well as being top 5 in the world there. What would a gold medal mean to you to finish off the season?
Yeah, it can be incredible for me. That's my main objective of the end of the season. Yeah, it's my first time, quite a first time in OK category, and I think it doesn't matter really much. IAME or OK, it's the same for me. Just keep driving and keep doing the best as I can, and yeah, I will do everything for the gold.
Fantastic, good luck.
Thank you.
Eli Goldstein has a really strong chance here to get the second gold medal for Belgium in karting. It will be the third after their success in TCR earlier on, of course. Let's have a quick word with Nacho Tunan, who is there on the grid in second place for Spain. Nacho, Spain has had a really successful motorsport games in terms of medals, lots of silvers, lots of bronze. How do you feel about the chance to go for gold?
Yeah, I will make my best. The goal is the principal objective. We will try to get it full push, and let's see how it's going.
Fantastic. Good luck.
Thank you.
So I will obviously let Nacho have that opportunity to have a conversation with the officials, because they're having a little bit of a moment. They're going to discuss with each other. Let's just have a look at the 30 drivers. They come from so many different nations around the world. They have literally come from all 4 continents around all 4 corners of the globe, I should say, from North and South America, from the Caribbean, from the Middle East, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, and from Australasia. These are such an incredible array of drivers, the best of the world's talents, and they are here to take on the ultimate prize in the FIA Motorsport Games for a kart racer, the Senior Sprint Gold Medal. What an opportunity. 32 grueling laps of this Circuit Paul Ricard to come, and the weight of expectation and the anticipation is overwhelming. This is one of the biggest days for the sport of karting, to go for a gold medal in the FIA Motorsport Games amongst the plethora and array of the other disciplines, which of course none of the drivers there would have actually reached had it not been for karting. It's very important to remember that all 20 drivers currently in Formula 1 started at this level of the sport. All the Indy 500 winners, all the Daytona 500 winners, all the Le Mans 24-hour stars climbed the ladder from the sport of karting. Many of them remain here in karting as the pinnacle of the sport when you consider that they are a couple of millimeters off the ground, pushing 90 kilometers an hour. The feeling and the exhilaration never gets better than it does in karting. It's no joke that in the world of Formula 1, they can't test their Formula 1 karts in between races, so they will regularly go back to the world of karting to hone their skills and develop their strength and their stamina. It's such an important world, the karting world, and it's wonderful that it gets to be represented here on an equal playing field as the likes of TCR, GT and F4. The fans in the stands are already doing their thing to get the nations riled up. There are so many people here wanting to see their nations come through for a medal. Pasquale Lupoli, the race director, just explaining to the drivers what the situation is going to be for the final. But there are so many interested supporters and spectators down here on the main straight getting ready for the big spectacle. This is going to be such a tough battle. I can't pick a winner. It is so close up at the front end of the field. Just on these first 2 rows, there are 4 drivers, all of whom deserve the chance to go for gold. Eli Goldstein for Belgium and Nacho Tunion for Spain, as well as Joel Bergström for Sweden and Max Schleimer for Germany. There are so many incredible talents, and there could be a bit of history on the 3rd row of the grid as well. 2 nations that have yet to win a medal of any kind at the FIA Motorsport Games. Today could be the day. Sri Lanka for Yavan David and Israel for Ariel Elkin. 2 world-class motorsport stars ready to take their place in history. There is Joel Bergström, the Swedish talent who won one of the heats yesterday and has a great chance from 3rd position on the grid, starting on the inside of the 2nd row. There are so many great contenders. Don't forget that further down the grid, you've also got on the 4th row of the grid, Gustavo Suarez for Chile on the inside of row 4. He has a great chance here to give South America a medal. And in 8th on the grid as well, Balázs Juránček. This is the big one. The gold medal race is about to begin. What a fantastic spectacle awaits us here on the karting circuit Paul Ricard, just beside the main sports car circuit. We are ready in fantastic fashion for the FIA Motorsport Games Karting Sprint Senior. There could be a little bit of history made on this starting grid. Belgium and Spain find themselves on the front row of the grid, with Sweden and Germany on the 2nd row. But there is a whole host of nations that are flirting with their first medal in FIA Motorsport Games. From P5 on the grid, Sri Lanka, P6 on the grid, Israel, P7 on the grid, Chile, and P8 on the grid, Hungary. There are so many great opportunities in this field for some great battles out on the course. 32 laps of this phenomenal race circuit to come, and it's definitely going to be very intriguing to see how it plays out. Wow, I am so excited for this one. This particular race circuit has already given us plenty of excitement through the Motorsport Games. Belgium took the karting endurance gold yesterday, and just a few minutes ago, Jules Caranta of France gave the gold medal with the congratulations, the personal congratulations of Ferrari Formula One driver Jean Alesi from back in the day. This is a big one. There are so many nations that have the opportunity to get the top spot. And you have so much competition, even in the top 10 of this starting grid. Elie Goldstein, the grandson of the 5-time karting world champion Francois Goldstein, lines up in pole position. A great opportunity to add his name to the Karting Hall of Fame with this gold medal. Nacho Tunion, second on the grid for Spain. He has an amazing opportunity to give Spain their first gold. They've had plenty of silvers, plenty of bronzes. This is their chance to go for gold. Third on the grid for Sweden, Joel Bergström. They have come so close to the top spot so many times, but this is their best chance yet, and Sweden has only one objective: gold. That's what they want. That's what they're going to strive to achieve. On fourth on the grid, Max Schlemer is going to be there in fourth position on the starting grid. He's been Mr. Consistency through the course of this week, and he has given us so much excitement out on the course. So now he's going to be pushing for the top spot. But there are so many talents further back. Ivan David of Sri Lanka, Ariel Elkin of Israel, Gustavo Suarez of Chile, Balázs Jarancic of Hungary, Adrijas Rimkevicius of Lithuania, and the fast female from Estonia, Carmen Krav. They all have a chance to get onto the medals here. Karl Kumaran of India is there, as is Oscar Wirtz of Austria, the younger brother of Charlie Wirtz, who was in F4 earlier, and of course the son of the Le Mans 24-hour king, Alex Wirtz. There is so much talent on this starting grid. This is going to be one of the toughest, roughest, fastest, most furious races of the FIA Motorsport Games. I can't pick a winner. Guillaume Alvarez, have you got any better idea than me?
To be honest with you, I don't have a clue about who can actually win this race. There's so many contenders, so many names that can finish with the gold medal around their necks. And this is going to be a beautiful spectacle with a total of 32 laps. This is certainly one of the longest finals we're going to actually commented, the two of us, Jake Sanson and myself, Guillaume Alvarez. So this is going to be a great spectacle. Stay with us until the end. A very nice family picture with some of the FIA officials, with Pasquale, our race director, Simone, as well as Ross and Jamie from the RGMMC group team. So a very fantastic display of flags, talents and colors from all four corners of the world, with 30 nations represented. And look at the crowd that we have. Look at the number of people gathering along around the karting track of Paul Ricard. We've had an immense success all throughout the week and in this weekend here in Paul Ricard, not only on the karting track but all over the place on the F1 circuit, as well as through the different 16 series that we had the pleasure of see at the best level for the second edition of the FIA Motorsport Games. But now things are getting serious once again. We're counting the seconds before the green signal, before the green flag will be waved into the air, and the young lions about to be unleashed for 32 laps of intense racing. This will be Belgium against Spain on the upper part of the grid. The front row has never looked better than this one, but how many contenders behind can give them a rough time? Ariel Elkin from Israel is one of them. Ivan David from Sri Lanka, another. Maximilian Schleimer from Germany. Joel Bergström from Sweden, who is more than eager certainly to recover the time that he lost in a very, very difficult last qualifying heat, and a penalty that he had picked up that cost him one of the victories in the qualifying races. So Hungary is there for the taking. There's only 3 medals, the gold, the silver and the bronze, to be awarded at the end of those 32 laps. Only 3 people out of those 30 will get to step on the podium in the fan zone, in the heart of the action at the Olympics of Motorsport. 30 seconds left, my dear Jake. We're ready. Everybody's ready. If you are here with us, this is a good choice to follow with us the FIA Motorsport Games senior final of karting.
This is such a tough race to predict. This is not just about who starts on the front row of the grid, not just about who's tenacious in the middle of the gaggle up front, but also who can look after their tyres for those 32 laps, who can stay patient, who can stay positive, who can stay disciplined. This is about the toughest, roughest race you're going to see in the FIA Motorsport Games 2022. The Sprint Senior Final, the first ever for senior OK drivers at gold medal status in the FIA Motorsport Games. Bring it on! Belgium and Spain on the front row, Sweden and Germany, then Sri Lanka and Israel, Chile and Hungary, Lithuania and Estonia, India and Austria, then Hong Kong, China and Slovakia, Denmark and Brazil, Kuwait and Poland, Indonesia and Australia, then Venezuela alongside Ukraine, Barbados and Malta, Portugal and Chinese Taipei, Nigeria, Mozambique, Costa Rica and Panama. This is the one they've all been building up to. And for Eli Goldstein and Nacho Tunion on the front row of the grid, not only do they expect, their nation expects. Bring it on.
The decor is set, the actors are on track for the warm-up laps, and I do hope that you guys have a good position, have a good seat around the track or in front of your TV screen. Thank you once again for tuning in wherever you are in the world for the Olympics of Motorsport edition number 2. 3 years ago we were in Vallelunga in Italy, this time around for the first time in Marseille on the beautiful Paul Ricard complex. 3 tracks that we had this weekend, 72 nations, 16 series, and 4 only in car racing with the karting slalom, the karting endurance that crowned Belgium yesterday, and 2 sprint classes, the junior that we had just before and the senior, to conclude the show on a high. Who to pick the gold medal? Belgium has already won. Spain is certainly chasing after its first in karting. Nacho Tunion, Eli Goldstein on the first row of the grid. 964 meters through 13 corners. That's the challenge, and all those drivers are certainly up for the task. One of them actually was quite late to the party, is trying to join the back end of the grid. Let's hope that he will be with us for the rolling start in just a few moments.
That's the Nigerian Philip Ganna. Hopefully he'll be there in position from the start. Belgium versus Spain on the front row of the grid. This is the race for the gold medal. The FIA Motorsport Games Sprint Senior Karting Final. Are you ready? Let's go racing next time. Anticlimax. Always the way in karting. If it's a false start, they send them round again. I genuinely thought we were ready to go there, but with Philip Ganna out of position, the Nigerian, they want to give him the chance to get back into position, and so they'll go round one more time. Only 45 seconds or so these laps, so obviously you've got a little bit of time to play with, but wonderful to see this event. Certainly in the junior final we had Felipe Massa, our former FIA karting president here, alongside his good buddy and fellow former Ferrari Formula 1 driver Jean Alesi.
And we also have Mr. Stefan Rattel himself, the head of SRO Motorsport Group, the man responsible for all this ever since the first edition of the FIA Motorsport Games, is here with us to follow on the sideline the final, and it's going to be an epic spectacle.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Rattel. We are so grateful, not just for the plethora of the karting, but also for the Motorsport Games as a whole. What a fantastic event it has been. Time to fight for gold. Belgium versus Spain, Sweden, Germany, Sri Lanka, Israel, Chile, Hungary, Lithuania and Estonia giving chase. Jake Sanson and Guillaume Alvarez with you for this epic final. The race for the gold medal. Who's going to go for it? Let's find out. Here we go. Up to the first corner. A great start for Belgium. Sweden's going to get through to second position if they can just squeeze out Spain through turn 1. There's a spin already, and there's 2 karts in trouble right at the first bout. That is a problem already for Ukraine, and I think also in there for Venezuela. It's not Ukraine, my apologies. That is the 225. So that
Kim Maloney from Barbados.
Yeah, that's Barbados. And there's more problems further round. We've got 2 more karts involved. That is Australia for Eva Anagnostadius. And also there's 3 more karts involved. Goodness me, an absolute, there's more than 3.
6 in total, I think.
There's about 6 or 7 karts down there. All sorts of drama. So Denmark has gone, Brazil, so too has Kuwait, Australia, Venezuela, Barbados, Portugal, Nigeria and Mozambique. What a disaster. So many drivers trying to get themselves back into the hunt as well. And that looks like Spain. Spain is gone. That's Nacho Tunion from the front row of the grid. Yellow flags around the course. But Nacho Tunion, the chance of a gold medal for Spain extinguishes at the bottom end of the circuit. And it looks as though Sweden is down there as well. Sweden and Spain have both gone. Massive, massive drama in this final. And look who's in second behind Belgium. It's Sri Lanka with Yvan David in second place ahead of Israel's Ariel Elkin. Oh my goodness, this race just went nuclear.
Goodness me, they're gonna give us a heart attack by the end of the final, but it's getting out of hand. The 210 as well on your picture. The list is endless actually about the drivers having to retire. We have not even completed the first 2 laps of this race. Full course yellow on the track. The time for the marshals to remove all the cart and unfortunate drivers. But what a ton of event. Pretty much all the rivals of Belgium are out of this race, promoting Sri Lanka and Ariel Elkin from Israel up into 2nd and 3rd. But what on earth happened between Sweden and Spain? Joel Bergström and Nacho Chinan are out of this race. They were the strongest contenders. They had all the chances to give a hard time to Belgium and Ellie Goldstein, but they're going to have none chance at all in the end.
Well, we started this race with 30 karts. We now have 19 still running, would you believe? Christian Boucher of Mozambique is gone. Philip Gunner of Nigeria. Francisca Queiroz of Portugal. She was looking good for a decent result. Callum Maloney, the younger brother of Zayn from Barbados, sadly out. Andres Adilas of Venezuela is out. Ava Anagnostiadis of Australia is out. Fahad Al-Khaled of Kuwait is out. Joao Maranhão of Brazil is out. Valdemar Agerholm of Denmark is out. And we're looking at it again on the stream. As you can see, Tunion and Bergström, Spain and Sweden out as well. 2 of the favourites for the gold medal. Sadly, their dream ends in tatters on the sidelines as we get ready for another yellow flag lap. We're not quite cleaned up yet. This is going to give a bit of an advantage to the leaders up front because they won't have to look after the tyres for as long. But in terms of the drama, we seem to have lost Oscar Wirtz. The Austrian Oscar Wirtz has gone as well.
What on earth is happening in this final? This is driver number 12 that we're about to lose after not even 3 laps completed. This must be the most difficult start of a final that we have ever seen, with up to 12 drivers out of contention before the first 4 laps completed out of 32. Massive ton of event and crashes are happening all over the place. My goodness me, as some of the contenders are out of the race already. We're still under full course yellow conditions as we speak now. Let's see what happened. This is the start, as you can see at the back end of the grid. Some of the drivers got tangled and one is spinning on the inside. That's the start of chaos with a couple of drivers, 2 of them compromised at the first corner, and then it happened in turn number 2 and 3 that up to 7 drivers were involved in the same tussle.
Yeah, that's where we lost Barbados and Venezuela, but by the time we came around turn 3 there was already another 7 of them out on the spot, and then we lost Spain and Sweden in a collision, and now we seem to have lost the Austrian Oscar Wirtz as well. We've only got 18 of the 30 starters left, and this is lap 5 of 32. My goodness me, this is going to be a bit of a demolition derby if we're not careful. But the quality of the drivers up at the front end should more than make up for it. You've got Belgium still leading the way for Ellie Goldstein, Sri Lanka in 2nd for Yvan David, Ariel Elkin in 3rd for Israel. 2 nations there, by the way, Sri Lanka and Israel, that have yet to score a medal in the FIA Motorsport Games. Cometh the hour, cometh the men, as Goldstein backs them up. I think we're going to go racing this time. He gets on the throttle out of the final turn, and it's green at Paul Ricard. We are racing once again here in the final. And up to the first corner immediately, Israel goes for 2nd. Lovely move, up into P2 past Sri Lanka. And this is their best chance yet, Israel, of a gold medal. Elkin can sense it, he can feel it, and he knows it's coming. Game on.
Game on indeed. Beautifully made from Ariel Elkin and Sri Lanka. Yvan David, 2 former members of the Academy Trophy 2020 for Ariel Elkin, with a win in Lonato, the first ever driver from Israel to win an international race in karting. And there he is against Yvan David, who's shown as well in the Academy Trophy last season. 2 former teammates as well at VDK Racing, Ariel Elkin and Ellie Goldstein. Let's remember that as well. But the battle is on, the 202 further back. This is Rimkevicius and Maximilian Schleimer battling along for P5, as the German, I think, went ahead. No, he's still behind in P6, my apologies. Carmen Krav in 7 from Estonia. Then we have Hungary, as well as Capo Yu in 9th place, and 10th position is Matis Borek at the moment. But Ariel Elkin from Israel had the right move. He didn't wait any longer. As soon as the green flag was waving, he went for the attack on turn number 1, and this is certainly the best choice he's made, because look at him actually getting close to the lead.
I can see all 3 of these guys making their way to the medal ceremony later. They might not get caught by the rest of the field here. A fantastic charge forward. Meanwhile, you've got Chile in 4th place for Suarez. Germany are in 5th for Schleimer. 6th is Lithuania for Rimkevicius. And then in 7th place, it is the talented Estonian lady, Carmen Krav. She's been given a gift-wrapped opportunity here to go for the top 5, and she's taking it. And up to 8th place comes Yuka Po of Hong Kong, China. He's come through into 8th place. Joranchik is still there in 9th for Hungary, and then it is the Slovakian Matis Borek who is there in 10th position. So a great charge forward, but Yvan David now sets the fastest lap from the Salon Motorsports Club. He is pushing all the way for Sri Lanka. The big opportunity for his nation. He is a bit of a sensation out there in Sri Lanka. The first major international motorsport star. He's already been lighting it up in the last couple of seasons in international karting, but he is staring a medal in the face. He said to me before the start of this race, he said, I'm going to get a medal. I don't even know how it's going to happen, but I'm getting a medal. I will not finish this race until I cross the line in the top 3 with a medal. It's going to happen. And he clearly knew exactly what was coming.
Let's see what's going to happen as well. We have a second wagon full of battles and expectation. The 204 on your picture. This is Andris Rimkevičius, indeed, from Lithuania, battling along in P6. Ariel Elkin from Israel, putting out the fastest lap out there in 44.3. He's trying to get close to the rest of the field, trying to put the pressure on your leader, Eli Goldstein from Belgium. And you can see he was able to put himself a bit of a gap. 4 tenths, there's pretty much nothing actually, but Elkin from Israel is having to defend as well against Yevon David from Sri Lanka. Those two are going to give us one heck of a battle for the next few laps. You can see Elkin watching over his shoulder. Watch out on the way to turn number 1. Both carrying a good momentum into the first sector, but not quite able for Yevon David to make his move, but we have seen plenty of actions in different sectors, in different corners. Turn number 10, turn number 11 and 12 on the last part of the track are those spots to keep an eye on. And it's fair to say that Goldstein is right now responding to the fastest lap of Ariel Elkin, and is pulling away just a tiny bit up close to 6 tenths of a second now. He's taking advantage clearly of the situation that we have with Ariel Elkin having to go defensive against Yevon David. As we
That's Gustavo Suarez. Gustavo Suarez in 5th place for Chile. He's got a technical flag. Now, that's disastrous. Gustavo Suarez is going to be out of this race with a technical flag. Now, let's see what's happened to him. His bumper is dragging behind him. That's why. Oh, look at that. Absolutely blatant. Gustavo Suarez, the technical flag. It's dangerous. It's hanging off the back of the car. And Chile's chance of a medal is now over as well. They are going to be the 13th retirement in this final. Such a bitter disappointment for Gustavo Suarez and Chile.
Yeah, it actually has 3 laps maximum to get back to the pits under the mechanical flag, and he has to do that without losing any time, because it could be dangerous if he loses the rear bumper on the track on the racing line with another driver. That could actually be quite costly for any of the pursuers. So hopefully he's aware by now, but if he doesn't get back into the pit within those 3 laps, he might actually get a back flag.
He's back right off. It's all over, and Gustavo Suarez knows it. What a shame for the Chilean. Oh, he had a great chance of a medal here today, and it just didn't quite work out his way. Meanwhile, we've got the Estonian and the Hungarian battling away. There is Gustavo Suarez. He realizes what's wrong, and he knows that it's all over for the medal. Once that's gone, is there any worth getting back out there? What a shame for Gustavo Suarez. Well, we were just seeing briefly there that Estonia and Hungary are having a great battle. That's Carmen Krav, and she is battling away with Balázs Gyarancik. So Balázs Gyarancik, the Hungarian, trying to get past her, but she has really taken this opportunity by the throat as well, and she is trying to work her way back into the top 5. As coming back out onto the circuit again, Gustavo Suarez. Okay, so that's interesting. The Chilean gets back on track in front of Max Schleimer. Rejoins, lets him go, but he rejoins exactly where he was. So that's interesting. What are they up to?
Yeah, what are they up to? Let's see what's going to happen with him. But at least we could understand easily that at such a early point in the race, we have almost 20 laps left to the checkered flag, and is certainly more than willing to give himself a bit more track time and
yeah, he's letting everybody
finishing his weekend as high as he can expect. But
he's letting everybody go. This isn't malicious. This isn't trying to get revenge on anybody. He just wants to get out there and race. He wants to finish the job. Fair play to him. That's good sportsmanship and good spirit of competition from Gustavo Suarez. He rejoins, but he does not impede anybody. He lets them all go, and he's just going to run his own race and get out there and finish for the pride of Chile. Fair play to him. That's the spirit of competition shown glaring in the public eye here on the FIA Motorsport Games. What a fantastic competitor. Now, if I'm Yevon David, I'm sitting right in behind the Israeli Ariel Elkin and letting him do the hard work for the next 10 laps, because you don't want to spend too long dicing and racing with your competitor. You're going to lose ground to the leader. If I'm Yevon David, he's going to go for it. David's going to go for it on the inside. He's going to get back alongside, and they actually bang wheels. So Israel and Sri Lanka dueling for second position. Sri Lanka clearly feeling that Israel were not going fast enough to catch up after Belgium. And Ariel Elkin taps his helmet. Think about this. Think about the long game. Let's not get into a silly war. Let's go after Belgium as a unit.
Sri Lanka, Israel, round 1 to the advantage of Israel, still in second place. That was the first warning from Evan David. That was a good attempt, wasn't it, into diving into the hairpin of turn number 11, but you could easily see that by doing so, he was carrying too much momentum on the exit. They couldn't actually close the door quite enough. That's what Ariel Elkin was expecting. We've seen those moves quite a number of times throughout the qualifying heats, so it was there for the taking, was there to get the position back. So let's see if Evan David is going to keep on repeating the same maneuver.
Goodness me.
And look at that, the tangled together, the number of cars on the sideline. There's more cars, pretty much as many cars on the sideline than they are on track. We have 17 drivers remaining onto the track at the moment.
I tell you what, Rimkevicius very nearly joined them because he's battling away with Yu Kapo. Yu Kapo is having a fantastic race, the Hong Kong China driver, doing a fantastic job, up to 5th position now. So Yu Kapo, who has been there or thereabouts in the lower end of the midfield, he's not really put on much of a show so far this week, but in the final, he's doing a terrific job. Yu Kapo now finds himself in 5th place in front of Adrijus Rimkevicius of Lithuania. So that could be an interesting surprise at the end of the race. Can he catch up to Germany in 4th place? Because Max Schleimer is there having a good run. There they go. And also behind, you've got Kraven Jurancic. There's Borec. And you can also just about make out Dmitry Muravchik of Ukraine in the top 10 there as well. Here's the battle for 5th. There's Yu Kapo in front of Rimkevicius, and then Kraven Jurancic. 9th is Borec, and 10th is Muravchik in front of Adrian Labuda. But the battle for 2nd place, the battle for silver, could well become the battle for gold if they just team up and work together. We are halfway through this sprint senior final in the 2022 FIA Motorsport Games at Paul Ricard.
16 laps down out of 32 indeed, and good to see indeed Yu Kapo from Hong Kong, China, making his way up to 5th, having climbed 8th position. Around the inside goes the 218, beautifully made. And this is further back in the classification, isn't it?
No, they've done it again. They've swapped positions again. This is Israel and Sri Lanka. They've done it again and swapped positions for the 2nd time. And yet again, Israel manages to retaliate to Sri Lanka. So this is a fascinating duel between these two. Twice now, Evan David has made that bid into turn 11. And on the consecutive corner, turn 12, Ariel Elkin is able to steal it back again. This is a fascinating duel, and what an amazing podium this is going to be if it ends like this. Goldstein will follow in his grandfather's footsteps to claim an FIA title and a gold medal in the FIA Motorsport Games. The first time that a karting sprint senior category for OK drivers has ever been held in his first ever OK senior appearance. The last time he drove OK was in juniors back in 2017. So an amazing opportunity for Eli Goldstein, the 19-year-old Belgian, to give them a gold medal. They only got their first gold medal in the FIA Motorsport Games yesterday with the endurance team made up of Antoine Mollet, Jeremy Pecklers, Sita Van Meert, and of course Maxime Drion. Thank you. It's been a long weekend. But now there's going to be a big challenge for the drivers further back. There's still a lot of battles. This is Estonia versus Hungary for 7th. This is Carmen Krav, and she is driving beautifully up against Balazs Jurancic. And Jurancic just can't quite get close enough to her. She really has put on a show here, Carmen Crow. Again, 3rd time of asking for Sri Lanka, and this time he's through. This time Sri Lanka gets into 2nd place past Israel. So now the battle rages for silver, but for the 3rd time of asking, it's Evan David who makes the move and makes it stick. Sri Lanka now have the silver.
Round number 3 at the advantage of Sri Lanka this time around. It was a bit of a dilemma, wasn't it? We had a temptation to find and to keep on looking to the other battles, as we're going to see the move once again. Beautifully made around the inside of turn number 11. And this is a move from Evan David from Sri Lanka. He was able to shut that door and prevent any overtaking from Ariel Elkin from Israel, because that's what we've seen happening in the first 2 attempts. But this time around, Sri Lanka is up a place. It's all down to Ariel Elkin to try and tie bid again in the same sector, potentially, if he's able to carry enough momentum on the fast start-finish straight on the way to turn number 1. That maybe an open door coming his way right now, but not quite enough at this time of speaking. This is 20 laps down, 12 remaining on the course. But Sri Lanka and Israel, the battle is raging for P2, and it goes the way of Eli Goldstein in Belgium, 1.9 seconds as we speak. So he's nowhere to be seen. Eli Goldstein is doing his bit, keeping his head down and praying for those two to keep on battling as much as possible, because in the meantime he can go qualifying lap after qualifying lap. Not to push too much though, because you don't want to go for the the mistake or not doing, there's always a temptation to do too much to impress, of course, but this time around those two are going to keep battling for P2, and there's a temptation to keep looking somewhere else, but we might see another move coming between Sri Lanka and Israel, so keep the eyes open.
But I tell you what, everybody back home in Colombo and Tel Aviv are going to be on the edge of their seats right now. That's all the seat you're going to need for the end of this final. We've got a battle going on down the straight. That's Poland versus Costa Rica. Costa Rica trying to bounce back into this one, having almost run off the road completely at the start. A good comeback actually for Gabriel Kawa. He was there at the first corner having problems with Barbados and has managed to get himself back into the mix here and is now battling for 12th with Poland's Adrian Labuda. So a great little battle here towards the end of it, but there are 11 laps to go. Goldstein has 1.9 seconds. Everybody back home in Sri Lanka is going to be delighted with this boy. There are 22.1 million people in Sri Lanka. They'll all be jubilant. And here comes the move. It's a nice one from Labuda to defend, but Kawa's got him. Costa Rica gets through past Poland. A great duel, and Gabriel Kawa gets it.
Yeah, beautifully made indeed. On the outside of turn number 13, all he has to do is to keep a steady line and shut all the doors, keep him at bay as long as possible. But Goldstein, in the meantime, 1.8 seconds. Yevan David and Ariel Elkin, Sri Lanka in front of Israel. The 204 on your picture. Further back in the classification, this is Andris Rimkevic from Lithuania in P6 at the moment. Let's see what he can do in this race. At the moment, he has a 2.7 second advantage on the Common Krav in P7. Balas Jurancic from Hungary is P8. Matus Borek is P9, and we have Dimitro Buskacic from Ukraine in P10 at the moment.
I'm so impressed with Kuyapo. We just saw him going through turn one there. The Hong Kong China ace is doing just an incredible job. There he is. What an amazing turnaround of events this is for Yukapo. He's not in the medal position, but he's there in the top 5, and this is such a turnaround. He's been 12th, 13th, 14th at best through the qualifying heats. Suddenly, the carnage and the confusion has given him the opportunity to shine, and he was about 9th at the end of the first lap, so this is not by accident. Yukapo has suddenly realised there's a window of opportunity here. I'm going to put on a show, and I'm going to let everybody know what I can do. And everybody back home in Hong Kong, China, having an absolute rout with him, loving every single lap of this. Rimkevic is there in 6th. There's Carmen Krav in 7th, in front of Borancic, then Boric, then Moravcic. And in 11th position, by the way, it is Chinese Taipei for Ting Chu Chun. 12th is Gabriel Kawa for Costa Rica. 13th, Poland with Adrian Labuda. 14th is the Indonesian Kanan Sini. And then India's Kyle Kumaran is in 15th in front of the Maltese Lucas Pace. But what a fantastic battle. Unfortunately, joining the Chilean Gustavo Suarez on the sidelines. We've just lost Valentin Flamini as well, the Panamanian. And they've had a strong karting season, don't forget. Just 2 weeks ago, Panama won its first ever international karting title at Le Mans in the IWF with their young charge, Gianmatteo Russo. So that's a country that you're going to need to keep an eye on in motorsport over the next few years. Panama is suddenly starting to churn out some megastars. But certainly there's one megastar up at the front, Ellie Goldstein, and he wants to add another gold medal to Belgium's talent. They've already taken gold in both TCR and karting endurance. Now they want to do so in karting sprint senior.
And they've had a silver medal as well in one of the other series in karting slalom, and a bronze medal in the autocar, in the crosscar junior. So a good collection of results and achievement for Belgium, and one more to come with Ellie Goldstein. If he keeps it steady, he keeps it head down. 1.5 seconds and still less than 6 laps to go before a checkered flag. Talking briefly about some of the nations that we don't get to see quite often competing at this level. From Barbados, we had Maloney, the brother of Zane Maloney, Callum Maloney, that unfortunately had to retire quite early into this final. But Callum Maloney is the brother of Zane Maloney that used to be competing in the FIA Karting Championship with FIA Motorsport. You might remember his name as the results and the achievement he's been putting for the past few years. Is the vice champion of F3 after showing wonders as well in F4 and Formula Regional, and on his way potentially to Formula 2, and is here this weekend giving support to his brother. So always nice, as we said, to see former drivers coming back to karting and giving support.
I'm reliably informed that the TCR Gold hasn't been decided yet. That was the qualifying race that Gilles Magnus got the victory in, so he's got that gold medal to come. But obviously Vantor has just taken pole position for the GT Sprint Gold as well. So this could be an absolute clean sweep of so many events. And Belgium has just scored a silver as well in the karting slalom, by the way. Team Germany picking up the gold for Sebastian Romberg and Annika Spielberger, ahead of Belgium for Romy de Groot and Dario Pemov, with Poland picking up the bronze. That's Emilia Ursula Rotko and Karel Kroll. So great performances from them in karting slalom. So Belgium could be about to get 3 medals out of 4 here in karting. What an amazing performance it's been from them. Karting endurance went their way yesterday, of course, for Maxime Trion, Jeremy Pecklers, Sita van Meert, and of course their 4th man in. You're going to help me again. Antoine Mollet. I will get all 4 of them in one sitting. I will, before the end of this weekend. But Sri Lanka and Israel are about to make history here in 2nd and 3rd with 4 laps to go, as they could get their nation's first ever FIA Motorsport Games medals.
Let's not forget the young Thibaut Ramakers representing Belgium in junior. Didn't have the results he had expected, despite some strong performances and a good recovery in the final. But a DNF and some difficulties in the qualifying heat, prevented him from shining at the forefront, which he did throughout the course of the season on national soil.
Yeah, fair play to Thibaut Ramakers. Actually, he climbed all the way to 7th place in the final just a few minutes ago. Considering he started back in 22nd, I don't think you're going to see many drives as good as that in the FIA Motorsport Games, although of course Ting Chu Chun and Gabriel Kawa have made up 15 places each in this race as well. So great performances. Ariel Elkin, the young man from Tel Aviv in Israel, having had a fantastic karting journey over these last 4 seasons. He went from an absolute no-name. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew what he could do. And he has since gone to represent his country in the Academy Trophy, won the final round at Lonato in 2020. He has since made switches to the VDK squad last year and to the TB Kart squad this year, and he races everything. He races senior, he races Ayami, he races Gearbox. This man is one of the stars of world karting. He could rewrite history, this man, in the next few years. He could win multiple world and European titles for years to come, and I have a feeling that Ariel Elkin definitely has a massive future in motorsport, whether it's in karting or cars. Yavan David of Sri Lanka doing a magnificent job as well in 2nd place. Sri Lanka's first motorsport megastar. 22.1 million people back home in Sri Lanka are going to be ecstatic. But the man in the lead, Ellie Goldstein, rewriting the family legacy again.
And knowing Ariel Elkin as we do, the bronze medal tastes good, but not as good certainly as silver. He has only 3 little tenths of a second of gap behind Yevan David, so I'm pretty sure it's not quite over yet. We're getting the checkered flag in just a few moments for Ellie Goldstein, but could the battle for P2 and the silver medal could be put on its head once again? The final lap we're entering right now, ladies and gentlemen, 1.3 seconds. That should be enough for Ellie Goldstein and Belgium to seal the deal and claim their first ever gold medal in the sprint final for the senior category. Yevan David and Elkin, Sri Lanka in front of Israel. The last bit of a battle for the last few corners of what has been an ecstatic final. Despite losing so many drivers, the battle up front has been immense.
This is going to be one of the most joyful podiums in motorsport history. Through the final section, Ellie Goldstein is about to make it 2 golds for Belgium in karting in 2022 in the FIA Motorsport Games. It's gold for Belgium! Ellie Goldstein wins the gold here in Paul Ricard in the 22 FIA Motorsport Games. He wins gold in sprint senior. Sri Lanka takes silver. Israel takes bronze. History is made for 3 brilliant nations. Belgium gold again. Sri Lanka and Israel make history, their first ever medals in the FIA Motorsport Games for the superstars Yavan David and Ariel Elkin. But it's joy, unblemished, untamed, superlative joy and ecstatic scenes coming the way of Ellie Goldstein for Belgium. What a result!
What a beautiful result that is. It makes me feel like singing once again the Belgian anthem, but I won't do that this time around. For your ears, that's better. But congratulations to Ellie Goldstein and Belgium sealing the deal once again. Another gold medal after yesterday's endurance race during 4 hours. Now, Goldstein wins the sprint race after 32 laps of pure domination in front of Yevan David from Sri Lanka and Ariel Elkin from Israel. Here's the classification in full. Goldstein, Yevan David, Ariel Elkin, your gold, silver and bronze medal winners at the end of the sprint senior final. 4th place, 2.7 seconds down, is Maximilian Schlemmer from Germany. Then we have Yu Capo from Hong Kong, China. Adrius Rimkevich from Lithuania in P6, followed by Carmen Kraft from Estonia. Then we have Balas Juransky from Hungary. Matus Borec in P9, as well as Dimitro Morasevic from Ukraine in P10. Just outside of it, we have Tin Chu in P12, Adrian Labuda in P12, P11 and 12, followed by Gabriel Kaur. We have Kenan Reza Sini as well as Kyle Kumaran. Luca Pace is the first of the drivers, unfortunately, who didn't make it through the race. We only have 15 drivers left out of 30. Pretty much half of the field has been out of this race. So incredible, a ton of event, incredible switch of positions, as we had some incidents, as such a chaos happening in the opening stages of this race. But in the end, it was here the start of the race. Let's have a quick look at some of the replays and some of the highlights of this race. The start was pretty decent for Eli Goldstein, being a little bit pushed on the inside of turn number 1. Chaos starting between two of the drivers that we lost at the opening corner. This was the 207 of Andres Eduardo Ardiles and the 225 that we lost as well, Callum Maloney from Barbados. Chaos happened again, and two of the strongest contenders in the field, with Nacho Tunan from Spain and Joel Berchon from Sweden getting along and getting in an incident, unable to keep on going to this final. So double DNF, two of the strongest contenders that we have seen competing and fighting at the front all throughout the weekend, unable to see it through after less than 2 laps into this final. And Nacho Tunan has been trying to get back onto the race, but it was too late, and the engine was saying no to him, unfortunately. So a lot of chaos, a lot of carnage into the opening stages of this race, and it was all down to the drivers at the front to go for the show. Ariel Elkin, representing Israel, made a beautiful recovery, battling along to fight for position against Yevan David from Sri Lanka. In 3 attempts, Ariel Elkin tried to make his way through, but on the third, it was enough for the Sri Lankan star to make it up to P2 in that particular sector in turn number 11. After 2 failed attempts, Sri Lanka and Yevan David were up into second, sealing the deal and shutting the door with enough momentum. In the end, it was a victory for Eli Goldstein, punching the air with joy. Fantastic victory with Belgium and Eli Goldstein, and a fantastic display of talents and flags on and off of the track, followed by a lot of people live from the karting track of Paul Ricard. And this was a beautiful, beautiful gesture of fair play. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for following the final of the sprint category here for the senior category. Thank you very much indeed, as we're going to hear some more from the winner of this final for Belgium, Eli Goldstein, and maybe hopefully from some of the contenders and the drivers on the podium. Thank you very much indeed, and see you next time in 2024 for some more karting action as part of the FIA Motorsport Games.
Incroyable. Well done, Ellie Goldstein, gold medalist.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic, absolutely amazing to Ellie Goldstein. So a fabulous performance from him. We're going to see if we can grab a word with a couple more of our medalists. Let's get Jevan David in after finishing in second position for Sri Lanka. Historic moment, a historic achievement for Jevan David. Jevan, what an incredible final. You said coming into this one, I'm getting a medal. There's no two ways about this. You managed to get one, and it's a silver. How amazing is that?
It's a great feeling. Honestly, to have the Sri Lankan flag finally on the podium, it's a great achievement. And I really enjoyed that race. It was very long as well, but we made it in the end.
And ever since you came into senior at the beginning of last year, there's been so many frustrations. It's been a tough run. You've had to really work at it. So much bad luck, so many misfortunes. Now you've come to the biggest spectacle, the FIA Motorsport Games, and you've given Sri Lanka a silver. I mean, you must be on top of the world right now.
It's been a very up and down year, and this is my final race of the year in Europe this year. And to end like this is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy. And this pays off for all the hard work that's done this year.
Congratulations, Jevan David, a silver for Sri Lanka. Well done, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's an amazing result for Sri Lanka. I think we might just have one last chance with our man from Israel to get the bronze medal. Ariel, you've made history today. That was a tough final. You really had to fight back from the doldrums as well, but to come through and get a bronze medal for Israel, that must feel really strong after such a tough week.
Yeah, it was quite a tough week, but we brought the medal home. I think it's a great achievement. I tried to get a shot at the medal gold, but Ellie was a bit too fast for me. Anyway, I did my best. At the end, I ended up in the third position, which is not bad. So I would like to thank everyone for the support, and see you soon.
Congratulations, Ariel. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, what a fantastic end to the week it has been here at the Circuit Paul Ricard. We have a gold medalist for France in junior and for Belgium in senior. It's been an amazing week from myself, Jake Sanson, my colleague Guillaume Alvarez, from everyone at RGMMC and the FIA Motorsport Games. It's been a fantastic week. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. We'll see you again when the FIA Motorsport Games and the karting categories return.